GMGers and GMGettes. Are you ready?
Countdown, 60 seconds to get ready for the Good Morning Gang morning show. It's time to get ready. Get your coffee, tea, trees, or whatever need be. Then put on your seatbelt. We're going on a journey. We'll discuss trending topics, music and breaking news to help get your morning right. Big Phil speaks, giving you his one-of-a-kind point of view. It's a GMG, and we're family. So as we count down to the start of the show, prepare for the unexpectedly. If you know, you know. Tell 1 to 7 of your friends to come in. Share your love for the show. We're about to begin. The GMG countdown.
Yeah, it's time to wake yourself up. It's the Good Morning Gang morning show. You feel me?
Good morning to you.
Hey, looky, what do we have here? I don't know, probably the best morning show ever hit the atmosphere. Let's be clear, there's plenty others that do it B.I.G., but keeping it a buck though, none to get you up though like G&G. With all the news and real point of views you can use, light and heavy topics we peruse, even a laugh or two. What you talking? Good morning, gang, be the issue, and take your friends and them, Ken and all, come on in, tune in. You ain't gonna want them mistake, and even the trolls and haters that hate us, we end up being their favorite. Cause from 8 to 10, we get it in, believe that. I mean, from where else could you go when you a part of the show? Definitely GMG, cause when you show love, we show love back. First thing in the morning, we get you through, so after the yawning, wash up and wipe your face, get your snacks, and come on in, get comfy, but most importantly, in all caps,
Do 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 do. Hey, good morning. Gay, yeah. Good morning to ye. It's your boy, Big Phil Speaks. And this is the Good Morning Gang morning show, huh? Brought to you by myself and that good GMG, Good Morning Gang. Listen, how are you feeling? How are you feeling? How are you feeling? Yes, indeed, ladies and gentlemen. This here is episode 315 of Them Things, like a lamb to slaughter. We gonna go deep on this one. We gonna go deep on this one. Pause. No Diddy. We about to have at it. Tell a friend to tell a friend. that you better bring your ass on in here because there's a lot to discuss, a lot to unpack, a lot to discuss, a lot to unpack. Listen, before I go any further, though, we going to have at it with that warning, huh? Because there's going to be some video footage, some things said, and I want to know there's fair use all throughout this situation. So let's get done with the warning.
Warning, warning, warning. Federal law, Title 17 U.S.C. Section 107 allows citizens to reproduce, distribute, or exhibit portions of copyrighted material under certain circumstances without the authorization of the copyright holder. Fair use allows for the quoting of copyrighted material in the creation of a new work for purposes included but not limited to criticism, comment, news reporting, teaching, scholarship, or research. Fair use preserves the free flow of culture, baby. That part.
And if you don't know, now you know. Listen, today, before I get into the main subjects and main topics, I had to venture off. It's Friday, June 12th, 2026. Everything's been real heavy. But rightfully so. Rightfully so. Before I do get off and everything, though, I'd be remiss not to go into the hold on, let me check these settings because I'm not liking what I'm seeing here. Yeah, I'm good there. Okay. Anyway, I'd be remiss to not go into the roll call. Ooh, 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 ooh. Listen, who's in the building? Who we got in the building? Who we got in the building? Who we got in the building? Listen, good morning, Polo Dolo riding solo from that Kansas City way. Crack baby, trick baby, crack baby. Connie Baptiste, good morning to ye. Terry Murray, what's goody like the mob? Uptown Jay from around the way. My uptown homegirl Nelly Nell in the building. Tiffany, I see you, you're in the building, huh? Rashad Houston, home team, GMG, Bab Wilson, what's goody like the mob? Young Dre's, salute. I see you. Who else we got in here, huh? Let me scroll on. Frank Murphy, my uptown compadre, DC Mumbo Sauce is in here. My sis, what's up, sis? Antonia. I know her as Tookie. I see you. You in the building. Salute, huh? What's goody like the mob, huh? Let's check in to see who's over on the IG way. Ricardo Clark, Mama Mills, Jimmy P, What in America? Junito PR, Dutch Masters Inc. I'm a star. What's goody like the mob, huh? We about to have at it. Good morning to ye. Yeah. Listen, we about to have at it, ladies and gentlemen. This episode is going to get a little deep. It's going to get a little trying, might get a little triggering, but we got to go through it so we can get through it and get to it. And that's freeing this young man sitting at this table right here, Carmelo Anthony. You hear me? What time you wake up? What time did I wake up? Early to the mug, huh? Yes, indeed. Peep ski, Wagwan brethren. I see you. Yeah, but before I get started, where do I want to go, huh? Where do I want to go from here? Where do we go from here, my love? I do want to play a couple videos, right? There's a trend going on to a song that we all have heard. The song is really infectious. The beat, the cadence, the hook, and all that is super infectious. But we need to check ourselves before we wreck ourselves, huh? We need to check ourselves before we wreck ourselves. There's two different little portions of the song that's talking to a part of the subculture that needs to stay where it's at, the subculture, but not be influential to our youngins, to our impressionable ones, and on these social media outlets and streets. Well, people are falling in line to the bullshittery already and as is. Y'all wondering what I'm talking about? Listen to this. I might have to edit the music out after it play though. But look what's in the background of this brother. Matter of fact, I don't even have to play the second video because the second part talking about where all my boosting ass women at, or whatever the case may be. I'm not even gonna go there, right? Now, someone say, hey, Phil, you hating. You just getting old, Phil. You don't understand. I understand it all. You see what's in this video behind this young man, right? Y'all see what's behind this young man? A bunch of kids, impressionable kids, hollering out the song. And some would think that it's cool to be scamming, and some gonna think it's cool to be boosting, stealing, and all those things. But what they're not gonna tell you behind the song, that the bullshit they doing is really wrong. And what they're not gonna tell you is you might get time. I got to look out for yours and look out for mine. Listen, somebody got to do it. Listen, understand something. I don't knock nobody from how they get their hustle on, how they get to whatever they get to. If you grown, listen, you are either going to be rewarded or punished by the things that you do, right? My problem is making it accessible and impressionable to our children. Accessible and impressionable to our children, to our youth. Okay, Freestyle Fridays is brazy. What I'm saying is this. We got to do better with what our children entertain, what's available to them, to their ears, to their eyes, to what they know to be right and wrong, even to repeat. I know peer pressure is heavy, and I know the world we living in is the world that we're living in. However, we have a responsibility. One, first and foremost, within our own households, to regulate and stand over, on top of and in front of any bullshittery that presents a threat, harm, physically, mentally, emotionally, and spiritually to our children. And then we must stand in the gap and be a hedge for our neighbors' children, for our community's children, for our people in general, and for the human race when it comes to things like this. Now, listen, I'm not mad at the young man who's dancing. I just wish he was dancing to something else. I'm not mad that he got a little swag with him and and all the things. I just wish he was swagging out to something else. I'm not jelly because he's litty. I just wish he was doing something else. And that's part of our problem. We go along to get along. We allow things to be the status quo. We allow things to be what it is. And again, some would say, Phil, you just out of touch. Pause. I just know where the mentality to listening to shit like this will end up and lead people. And the person singing it, with all the bullshit that's surrounded her and her group and all the things, she should know better. She could have made that beat, the cadence of the hook would have went if she would have just said something. If she could have said something else, she could have said, where's all my balling ass knuckles at? She could have said that. Where all my money getting women at? She could have said that. But to say specifically scamming ass knuckles and boosting ass says a lot. And at the end of the day, before I get into all the things that this live is really about, We have to look inward. We have to look inward at us. We have to look inward at us because that's part of the problem that leads to why nobody really was standing in the gap in the moment for that young man, Carmelo Anthony. You hear me? It says a lot. Keisha Hall can have herself a ball if her assets are in order. I see you in the building, huh? Who else? Did I miss anybody else? We have to be compassionate and address historical trauma positively. That's a fact. But also have accountability for where we've fallen short in all our roles to make sure our youngins know better and do better. That part. Want him to dance to God's property. All my people say, it ain't about that, Terry. It's about the fact that we need to hold accountability to ourselves. We can't complain too much about what some other people are doing to us, what other races and cultures are doing to us when we promoting BS and garbage in our own community. Charlie Hustle was goody like the mob. She might as well say, where all my dope fiends and my druggies at? Where my winos and my prosties at? Might as well have said that, right? So you never shop with a booster in the hood. I'll never say I never have, but I did it as a grown adult, knowing the consequences behind what I'm doing. Sarah Lynn, who came on in, good morning to ye. See, y'all. Yes, supporting boosters is wrong, receiving stolen property. But the difference is, I know right and wrong. So if I choose to do something wrong, that's on me. Our children, yours, mine, everybody watching, they are very impressionable. A lot of times don't know the ins and outs of what's going on and what's possible behind the actions that are being promoted by older teenagers and older adults. That's the problem. I understand that, but he didn't promote it to children though, Terry. He didn't promote it to children. Damn, feel they young. Let them live. They will gain their wisdom. No. Again, these were elementary school children. These wasn't high school kids. You mean to tell me y'all cool with your children? Elementary school children who ain't learning what they need to be learning in school as is, for them to be cheering and chanting this type of shit? Are you serious? Oh, I get it. Y'all cool with the sexy reds and the shit that she was saying. You cool with the kids saying that too then, huh? Let them kids. They'll get wisdom later. They'll understand later. Is that what y'all saying to me? I know y'all not saying that. My is pink and my is brown. Is that what you saying? You cool with the kids saying that too? I'm not talking about adults saying it. I'm not talking about adults chanting. I'm not talking about adults even doing it. To each his own. I'm talking about it being promoted to children. If y'all got a problem, if y'all got a problem, or y'all are cool with that, y'all need to check yourselves. Kids sing a lot of BS because it's what they hear. Does that make it right, Sarah Lynn? That's part of the problem. I can't believe, boy, some of y'all have been fake I ain't gonna say fake. Some of y'all have been real like activists in a lot of y'all chats, comments, and posts and stuff, but you cool with your children with the actions, a strategic plan, bro. One community at a time. We were talking about be the leaders we support. Of course. Exactly. Should that be sung by the children, though, Terry Murphy? My neck, my back. Should that be sung by children? Should that be sung by children? If you actually listen to these kids today, that's mild. Does it? Okay, Sarah Lynn said, if you actually listen to these kids today, that's mild. I heard these kids cussing up a storm at the bus stop yesterday. You're right. But it's a part of what's deteriorating our culture, our community, and our youth. Y'all can't, what's Phantom Beast, what's goody like tomorrow? You cannot, on the one hand, say you want our children to change. You can't on the one hand says our children are running amok. You can't on one side say our children are lost and up to no good, but on the other hand, condoning them being with the effery. Make that make sense. Am I tripping? Oh, I thought you were talking about the singers, rappers. I didn't know Young Element. Yeah, the video I just showed is a dude that's going viral for doing a dance. He created a dance to it that him and what's it called, Young Miami did together, or whatever the case may be. In the video I showed, he's at like some little, I don't know if it's a school or kid club or something, but there's a bunch of kids behind them hollering and chanting this shit out. There it is right there, Nelly Nail. Kids are sponges and they soak up everything. When I listened to Lil' Kim and Trina, it was no way my kids were allowed to listen to my music. Facts. That's what I'm saying. I'm not saying can't nobody get it how they live. Can't nobody listen to songs like that. If you grown, and it should be for grown people, have at it. It's your destiny, your will. You do with it what you will. But our children who are impressionable, you can't on one hand act like you want to champion children, and then on the other hand say, nah, let them go ahead and sing that shit. Because that's the same sentiment. Then you must have been cool with them singing Molly Percocet too by Future. Y'all must have been cool with that, huh? If that's the case, you might as well be cool with all the activities they doing in pursuits of trying to act grown. Y'all must be cool with that then, huh? Can I replay it again? I don't want to replay it. I don't want to replay it, Phantom, because, matter of fact, I'll replay it. This is the video right here. Little kids, Not only is it being promoted and marketed around children, but it's also promoted and marketing materialism, to which them young kids gonna want to get it how they live, because they need that go-yard bag. They need to have what he got on. He need to have what young Miami be wearing. Need to dress and look like. Need to get the wigs, the weaves, the extensions like her. Wear the makeup like she got on. Wear the tight clothes that she got on. That's part of the problem. Do you not get it? Am I tripping? Am I tripping? I'm just saying, am I tripping? If I'm tripping, listen, I'll stand on that island. Man, in this economy, I'm looking for scammers and boosters too. I missed the game. But see, that's the thing, Charlie Hustle. You grown. So if you choose to get something that's stolen, if you choose to get something from a scammer or whatever the case may be, you know the consequences behind that if you get caught up in something. Them little kids don't fathom the consequences because they don't know no better. Some might know a little better, just a little bit, but they really don't get it. That's what I'm talking about. I'm guilty. I play a variety of music, but I also explain that it's not okay to put a girl in the trunk like Biggie said. It says explicit language. The parents are the ones. Is that 40 water? That's it. That's it. This is the type of music the industry pauses. Ninada, Tanina, hey, that's what I'm saying. At the end of the day, we got to check ourselves before we wreck ourselves. How we gonna be so mad at what other people are doing to us and we okay and sanctioning BS amongst ourselves? You can't on the one hand say, yeah, let them sing it. They kids. Can't on the one hand say, let them sing it, let them be kids. And then get mad later on when they off doing it or trying to live that out or anything else that is of grown in nature. That is grown in nature. My son doesn't even wear Jordans because I don't promote commercial label horn. I respect that, Sarah Lynn. However, if they listening to the songs like that and all things, even though you don't get it for them, they gonna see some of them. Not saying your son, but some gonna secretly admire that and want to have at it. And if you can't get it for them, guess what they gonna do? Most, not all, most. They know the whole words to their song and barely know their ABCs. That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm talking about, Young Dreads. That's what I'm talking about right there. That's what I'm talking about. The school should definitely take some accountability for what that as well. Why was that okay? Bingo! Nelly Nail, bingo! They not teaching our students real curriculum that they need to be successful in this world for real, for real. But y'all gonna sanction, let the kids sing that song. Get the figgity out of here. Now, y'all could be mad at me. Y'all can call me out my name. Y'all can say, Phil, you bugging. Whatever the case may be, I will be that. I will be that. I know what it, listen, I was outside. I've done a whole lot of things. So one, I'm not acting like I'm holier than thou or I'm up on some pedestal. Oh, no. I just know the road that some of that lead to. I just know the road that some of that lead to. And in the situation with Carmelo Anthony, a good kid, if a good kid can get 35 years unwarrantedly, then what you think they're gonna do with these kids growing up trying to be scammers and boosters? They're giving a rack of time for scammers. There's another couple out of Texas, DJ ASAP, who used to be on BT, and his wife got 40 years apiece for scamming. With all my scamming, but they was grown though. They were grown. The song is catchy until your identity gets stolen. That part. Phil, I agree, but we did what have NWA, Dr. Dre, and Snoop Dogg, Ice Cube, and many more telling us don't love these whole mess. We taught us to cook. True, Charlie Hustle. I'm glad you brought that up. And look what that perpetuated. Look what that helped usher in and perpetuate and fester. That's a great point, Charlie Hustle. Adina Howard too, yes. Never heard that song before, but parents these days are so young and lost. I'm not surprised. That's that's what I'm saying. Like, if okay. Even if they was 16, 17, 18, right? I still would maybe have a little bit of a problem with it. However, 16, 17, 18 has a little bit more mental capacity about them, huh? Still impressionable, but still at that age should really know right and wrong from there, right? And they start to feel themselves and or experience life or whatever, right? But if the songs were just for adults and played only in adult settings for adults, and adults was yeah, or I'm about to go do that, have at it. That's your life. But for our babies though, y'all can't tell me y'all cool with the babies emulating and trying to live out the bullshittery said in these songs. That's what I'm saying. Be honest, a lot of parents out there play that song in front of their children. And that's the problem. Phantom Beats. Aha. Hey, Cuban Mix Cuban baby. Come on over to YouTube. Good morning. Charlie, I see you. Come on over to YouTube. I shop at Goodwill, so my son never has to sing that about boosting. But if he hearing the song, whether you playing it or not, see everything starts in the house, Sarah Lynn. But you know, good and well society, peer pressure, and all the things can get a strong grip on our babies if we not on top of it. So even though you might be teaching them one way, the world gonna be showing them another way. But what we should not be doing is adding on to what the world is gonna show our children anyway. There has to be balance, and the balance is in not allowing our children to be openly. Now you could keep it 100 and be frank and honest with your children to tell them this, that, and the third farce what's going on in this world, but at the same time not having them promote. No, my kids that age would have never been openly allowed to listen to that song, and damn sure wouldn't have been singing it around me. Now I know once. Listen, I know I'm not no fool. I'm not no dummy because I was young. Outside of my presence, like I said, the world has a lot of temptations. Peer pressure is a mug. However, we are at least or at least to do our best to make sure that we set the foundation so that when they are out in the world and tempted and listen, hear this bullshit and all that, that either they're strong enough mentally to separate the difference between some music and some words and actually wanting to live the lifestyle that they're watching and looking at and hearing in the songs. That's the difference. They have been using music to program people for a long time now. That part. I agree with that. Oh, I already read that. Honestly, I don't even let my son listen to most of the BS they'll say on lives. It's why I never came up. So then why are you saying it's cool? Sarah Lynn, are you playing the devil's advocate? Is that what you was doing? Because I'm just saying, why would you say it's cool for the song to play? What? And you sent me some credible and some good things in the past, far as articles and things and more act, you know. So I'm like, what? Not Sarah Lynn. Charlie Hustle. Was our music worse? It was bad. I think it's worse now because it's more openly profane. Like we had profane music. We did Charlie Hustle. We had profane music with the cussing and all that and subject matter. But I think it's exponentially worse now. One, because of social media. Two, because of the content matter has gotten worse. Like they really censored some things back then. Not all things was censored, some things, whereas now it's like poof, right in your face. My son is an honor roll who plays in jazz band and marching band, so I expose him to all kinds of music because he plays instruments. Shout out to that. Shout out to that. Remember when there were boundaries we just didn't cross? Today it seems like that's it right there. That's it right there, Tookie. That's it right there. And that's the point. That's the point I'm making. We cool with the boundaries being so blurred and just not there. Parents want to be their kid's best friend or their good girlfriend or their big homie and all these things. Everything but the mother and the father to their children. What? That's a fact. They took prayer out of school and brought spin that. One of my son's favorite songs is Poor George by MC Light. I teach him about music production too. And that's dope. That's dope. That's dope. That's dope. Oh, his appeal is going to be good, good. The father to the victim put out it's coming. It's coming, 40. It's coming. It's coming. Trust me. It's coming up shortly. I don't think the music nowadays is as bad as what? Are you serious? Are you serious? Yes, you had the little Kims talking they talk. You had Trina saying a little something. You had Kaya, my neck, my back. You had NWA. You had Snoop Dogg. We don't love them. And it's like that. We had all of that. We had some things. But some of the things that they play even on radio stations weren't allowed back then. There's a lot less censorship now than there was then in a lot of arenas. We didn't have no social media outlets where you could turn on there and see people screwing on the social media outlet, unfiltered, uncensored, raw and uncut. We didn't have that, Charlie Hustle. And it was Charlie Hustle. A gangbanger would pop their child in the mouth if they came out there talking about my pee is pink and my booty hole brown. What? What? Nowadays, the mother out there singing, well, yeah, girl, ooh, do that dance. You got to be shitting me. You got to be, because ain't no way in hell that was cool. Even if the parents was up to no good, back then, a lot of them, if they weren't strung all the way out, a lot of them was not having that. Don't you know the saying, Charlie Hustle, do as I say, not as I do, right? Which is not necessarily the best way to think about it, because you need to be an example for your children. However, now it's like, do it with me. Do it with me. Hey, do it with me. Pop it, cheese wiggle. Twerk it, all that, all that. I'm just saying exactly your point that came from the world of TikTok. I have an account to monitor his activities, and that's what you should be doing. Hey, Cuban baby, I see you. But I do agree with you. We got to teach our kids that music and movies are only for entertainment. It's not real, so they don't try to make it your reality. That part. Kids in Roblox created immigration raids in the game because of what they see. Ain't that something? Ain't that something? Not to mention that kids are exposed to pedos, PDFs as they want to call them, and other things on certain games like Roblox and other things. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying, Bacardi. It's very catchy. It's very influential. The beat is tight. The hook, the cadence of the hook is nice. She could have said all kinds of other words that would have went just as hard, that would have went just as nice, that would have been turned up just as well. Zola, what's goody like the mob is definitely worse now. I got to catch up with the comments. The music these days promote drug uses. That's why so many youngins are doped up and strung out. They definitely are listening to the music and wanting to see what it's all about. I'm saying we can't force our kids to live in a box, so we have to stay actively parenting to explain. You right. You right. Because outside of your presence, the world has a strong presence. However, we definitely can say what we say. Mac, yes, it's live. I'm on YouTube. No pre what? If you out the old day. Night Vision, retype that one for me. I listened to this morning and time for us to say goodbye, baby, now. And I wonder why they allowed us to sing about extramarital affairs. Kicking the door, waving the 4-4. I know that. But Keisha Hall, let me say this. Let me say this. And I spoke to it earlier. Yes, and I said, look what it ushered in. Look what it ushered in. And even though kids were exposed to it, it was not outwardly promoted to the children. Yes, they knew kids was going to be involved with it and listening and all the things. But now, not everything, a lot is specifically targeted to our children for promotion. 20 bandana, whoop. Music is now more accessible with streaming. We were carded to buy some music. That's a fact too. So you listen to straight. Of course not, Sarah Lynn. Are you missing the point? Are you what point? I can listen. Okay, Sarah Lynn. I can listen to whatever the hell I want to listen to. You can listen to whatever the hell you want to. Anybody in this chat can listen to whatever the hell they want to. I hopefully everybody here is grown. Grown. And with being grown, you are the steward or stewardess over your own lives. You have your own destiny to live out. God ain't gonna defy that, right? Your own will. Sorry. And God ain't gonna step in front of your will to do whatever it is you want, good, bad, or indifferent. But just because you listen to it don't mean your children should be listening to it, period. I'm just saying. I found a black Catholic nun with some fire music. Have at it. Yeah, they was wild back in the day. Thank you, Mac. I appreciate that. There's also a problem with sheltering. No, it's not about sheltering your kid. Well, okay, Sarah Lynn. Would you sit your child in front of a TV to watch a adult interaction movie? I can't say the other word. Would you sit your child in front of the TV to watch an adult interaction movie just because you can't shelter your child? Of course not. But kids are going to talk about it. It's going to be talked about. And yes, you do have to have certain conversations with your children. Come on now. Yeah, come on now. Come on now. When they took the parental advisory sticker off music, you couldn't buy certain things unless when they put it on there. Sorry about that. Things unless adult bought it. That's a fact. Great discussion. I have to go, baby. So proud. Thank you, Took. We got to get up. It's good to see you. So, do you think the music you listen to caused you to do things as a child? I say this, and I'm gonna leave this conversation alone. Right? Listen to this. For those that consider themselves Christian or who have read the Bible or done some biblical studies, right? You know that the devil was said to have once been one of the highest ranking angels in heaven and who was the minister of music. Take that in, the minister of music. Now, if you're familiar with church and know what a minister of music does in the church, they oversee all the music that the congregation hears. From depending on what your denomination is, the praise team at the beginning or choir at the beginning, solo selections to altar call, through tithe and offerings to the benediction. And if you listen to, like you said, gospel music, you know how it moves the soul, how it moves you to emotions sometimes. Same thing with other music. Other music moves you to certain mentalities, to certain moods, to certain state of minds. Think about it. Even with a slow jam, it makes you want to either do something strange for some change with your special one, or start reminiscing about somebody you done lost or wish you got with. Same thing with more visceral music. But anyway, let's move forward. Anyway, because some of y'all argument is on point, and some of y'all argument is you to me personally. Because I'm like, you on one hand, you can't be saying, yes, I monitor and I won't allow, and I'm not speaking to you, Sherlyn. Or I and then say it's okay. Let the kids be kids and let them just experience what they're gonna experience. Hell no. At a certain age, it's our responsibility to make sure they are safe from harm mentally, spiritually, physically, and emotionally. Then after a while, they assume that responsibility. The problem is the government has taken away so much of our parental rights of correction and direction, but then they want to be the ones in charge and make your children wards of the state even before they become wards of the state. And then that's when y'all crying, well, my baby is caught up in the system. Well, maybe if they wasn't, at an early age. Who knows? They might not went into the store trying to steal something. They might not have been trying to get some money out of people the wrong way. Come on now, Phil. It's okay. We are. Of course, Keisha Hall. It is okay. Everybody got opinions. Everybody got opinions. I'm not going to agree with everything y'all say. Y'all not going to agree with everything that I say. Period. I'm shocked by a couple of opinions, but hey, y'all are grown. Y'all got y'all own mind. If I want to say it's you, then that's my opinion, right? That's my opinion. Terry Murray, bingo. Bingo. But anyway, moving on to what this show is about. Moving on, because y'all done got me off on a tangent. I wasn't even planning on staying here and sticking here that damn long. But for y'all that see today, for y'all that have just tapped in, do your boy a favor, hit the thumbs up, book up. While you at it, if you have not subscribed, please subscribe to the channel, book up here on YouTube. And more importantly, hit that notification bell, something like this. So you be in the know whenever the Good Morning Gang Morning Show drops. What? Whenever Feel the Love Friday drops. What? Whenever the Tap In with Big Phil Speaks drops. What? Or anything else that I put on this Big Phil Speaks channel, you be amongst the first to know that part. Listen, but make sure you do click all when you get the notification bell, because sometimes YouTube still be tripping, and we trying to get them out the way as much as possible with you getting your notifications. That part. But anywho, y'all see what it is today, ladies and gentlemen. Today is episode 315 of them things, like a lamb to the slaughter. Like a lamb to the slaughter. Now, when I created this cover, I was really trying to implement and add this in, and minus the noose, and change the swastika to the Texas state with the Collin County Circus Court, or whatever the case may be. However, it kept pushing it back. It wouldn't let me do it. It wouldn't even let me put the Klan suits on them. It wouldn't even let me put the Klan suits on them, ladies and gentlemen. Even in the chat GPTs, there's some censorship. You hear me? But you get the point of what I'm trying to get to. And y'all see before, right, there's a crime scene over there. Crime scene tape that said the real crime scene happened here. And that's where we're going to go. Carmelo Anthony, unless you've been under a rock, unless you've been living in a tree far out in Redwood Forest, unless you've been off the grid or living in the middle of the ocean and got no Wi-Fi internet, by now you've heard a lot of the story, the whisperings, the outcries of this case from one side or the other or both. There's a lot that's being left out and a lot not mentioned, and this young man's life has been placed in the balance. This young man's life has been placed in the balance in the way in which they handled this case and how fast they expedited the whole trial to the sentencing to shipping him to prison. And somebody down in Texas can tell me if I'm wrong, but I ain't never heard of no state from Cali to DC to Maryland to Virginia, even New York, or whatever the case may be, that you go straight from court to prison. You go to jail, you go to a detention center, you go to those places until they come get you, and usually is on a bus to go with other people. But they got him out the back door. And part of the problem, if y'all don't know, they tried to send him to the bird center or bird unit of this jail, of this prison, which the warden is none other, or senior warden is none other than Talon Metcalf. Make that make sense. Talon Metcalf, who is related to Jeff Metcalf and Hunter and the other one that passed. They tried it. And you know what would have happened then? Even though, to me, he's still not out of the water, because wardens talk to each other. Wardens talk to each other. So yes, he was moved either from the bird unit and or rerouted. Now he's at the William Pack Center, William Pack unit, or whatever the case may be. That's why the things we're going to talk about today are paramount, and why something got to give, and hopefully this young man gets some recourse on the lack of actions, lack of counsel, the bullshiggery, the prejudice, the underhanded way in which things were handled and done, the lack of transparency in not allowing us to see into the court while this is going on, to know what people were doing and what people were not doing, especially in a case like this that has so much of a racial ticking time bomb attached to it, even in after the verdict. Are we anyway? Who's the predator, Terry? I'm so heartbroken about this case, but it's not over yet. God keep him safe until he gets home. That part right there. Austin, thank you, Austin. I couldn't. I got a brain fizz out. I couldn't think of his name to save my life or whatever. Right. Part of the issue is accountability about the whole handling of the situation. Part of the issue is people's thought processes when it comes to Carmelo Anthony, as opposed to when it's been somebody else of another persuasion, or when the table's been flipped, down to the current situation where Rick Chow was set free, found not guilty for chasing down Cyrus Carmack Belton and unaliving him, shooting him in the back. There is no shooting him in the back, not in the front, trying to say he had a gun, but he still was running away. There is no self-defense in that, but a jury of his peers got him off. Basically looked at young Cyrus as if he was guilty, even though the camera footage showed that he didn't steal nothing. Whether he was trying to steal something or not, mind you, they made him put his bags up front. Soon as he came in, they were following him like Minister Society. Hurry up and buy. Nasty work. I got a lot of footage for y'all to check out, even down to the racist rant. I call it a racist rant from Jeff Metcalf, the father of the decedent, Austin Metcalf. Carmelo Anthony, I showed on the last episode, I showed some of him behind the scenes. He was an athlete. He was an athlete, a good boy, went to church. Not saying he was a perfect boy, but a good child. And where's it at? Who was celebrated some years before this whole horrific situation happened. He was celebrated. Where is it at? For saving a child's life. Saving a child's life. This person that y'all are acting like, not y'all per se, but people are acting like he's a little monster. The person who put this article up, the mother of the child he saved, says, "So sorry I couldn't save you from these people like you saved my son. Hashtag forever my hero, Carmelo. I've been quiet too long because I ain't like how all these people was judging him and don't even know him." This is the video. It's only like 4 seconds or whatever. But this is the article from the news.
But God is gonna work it out.
They've painted this man like such a monster. They've painted this young man, I'm sorry, like such a monster, like he was a criminal, as if he went there with premeditation and a calculated cold heart to do somebody dirty. It's been said that the footage that or that clear footage of the event has been withheld and not shown in open court. It's been said, allegedly, that they show grainy footage inside of the court. It's been said, allegedly, in the footage, it shows the aggression from the other individual. It shows the argument. You might not hear the words, but it shows the argument or conversation into the actual altercation. And some would say mano a mano, hand for hand, or whatever the case may be. But who are you to say? Who are they to say that it's not okay for him to defend himself any which way he sees fit in the moment? In the moment. But then say it's okay for anybody else to defend themselves how they see fit in the moment. Rick Child, for example. This situation right here. This situation right here. 19-year-old David Pleasant was murdered by these unarmed, but murdered by these two individuals. One of them walked free. The other one only received 4 years. 4 years. 4 years. Let's go further down that line. George Zimmerman, exonerated, self-defense accepted, protected by law to make sure nobody bothers that man. Trayvon Martin went to get Arizona tea and some Skittles, walking himself home. And this man, who ain't security, who ain't law enforcement, forced himself in the circumference and in the presence of Trayvon Martin and all the things that subsequently happened there within. He was found not guilty. Rick Child, self-defense claim accepted, charges dismissed, walk free, protected by law. Kyle Rittenhouse, self-defense accepted, acquitted, walked free, praised, and defended. Though he calculatedly, premeditatedly brung an assault rifle to a protest that was a racial powder keg within itself. Make that make sense. But you got this young man, Carmelo Anthony, self-defense rejected, charged, faced decades, got decades, future destroyed. When does self-defense just stay self-defense? And when does it become protected and unprotected? Who is it good for and who is it not good for? I can go down a long list of other situations where self-defense was offered up and or thrown by the wayside for people that look like us and darker than even me, and accepted and applauded when the defendant looked like Austin Metcalf or his daddy. And I don't want this to solely be a racial thing. However, there are racial and bigoted mentalities involved in this whole situation. See, it's cool for us with all my scamming and singing all the dumb stuff and doing dumb stuff for the most part, yeah. But how dare you talk back to, stand up to, defend yourself against somebody from another race or culture who's trying to either oppress you, bully you, harass you, physically harm you, or all of the things. Make it make sense. Make it make sense. Speaking of which, y'all check this lovely young lady out in her video. You hear me?
Hey y'all. A 17-year-old boy in Texas brought a knife where children were supposed to be safe. There was a confrontation, yes, words, a shove, and that boy pulled out that knife and stabbed another child. That child's mama got a phone call no mama should ever get. Her son was rushed to the hospital and he didn't make it home. That boy ran. Police found him at his house, found the knife, he admitted it, said he was scared, said he was being bullied, said he only carried the blade to protect himself. Bond was set at $1 million. Then a judge dropped that bond, and that boy went home to his mama. He was on house arrest, but the other family was planning a funeral. Now, some of y'all are already typing in my comments because you think you know exactly who I'm talking about. But Carmelo Anthony was found guilty this week, and he got 35 years. The boy that I just described, oh, his name is Cason Allison. Belton, Texas, same age, same state, same weapon, a knife, same outcome, a dead child. And his jury looked at him and said not guilty of murder, but criminally negligent homicide. The sentence range was 6 months to 2 years. Now, they had to add the enhancement just to get him to 10 years. 10 years was the maximum the law allowed Cason. 35 is what they gave Carmelo. Two scared 17-year-olds. Two Texas juries. Only one of them got to be seen as a child. Now, I'm not asking you to excuse anybody. What I am asking you is to explain the math, because it ain't mathin'.
What?
That's what it is. If you want to say he needs to have accountability on some level or whatever the case may be, even if we see it that he shouldn't have, that he did everything that he could do and should do, maybe, or whatever, right? How is it that you can go to sleep at night and sentence this young man proportionately way different than other cases similar to that? We're going to walk this case down. For those tuning in, share this live with other individuals because we're going deeper. Walk with me. I'm on a journey, and this here is a deep journey. The question that should be asked of everything that I've been saying, everything that you've been hearing, what this lady said, is why is fairness in the whole situation or fairness across the board a problem? Why is fairness across the board a problem? Y'all listen to this man speaking on just that. Lady Cosanita, I see you. Good morning to ye.
Let me unfuck this issue surrounding the sentencing. People online are saying, I don't understand why everyone is mad. And keep your hands to yourself. It's simple. He needs life. How wasn't this murder? The primary issue here is not specifically his guilt or innocence. The issue is why this system keeps finding nuance when sentencing some people and using a sledgehammer when sentencing others. Carmelo was 17 years old when this happened. He was convicted and sentenced to 35 years. But Cason Allison was another Texas teenager in another fatal school stabbing. And he was also charged with murder. But he got convicted of criminally negligent homicide and got 10 years. And Jesus San Miguel, Another Texas teenager, another fatal stabbing. He was found guilty of criminally negligent homicide, but he got 10 years of probation and 30 days in jail. So it's not just did Carmelo stab someone. The question is, why does one teenager get treated like a murderer, another like a tragic accident, and another gets sent home on probation? And before somebody performs their little, why does everything have to be about race routine, the U.S. Sentencing Commission found that black males receive longer sentences than white males. So this is not imagination or race baiting or people just being dramatic. It's data. And since it's relevant, a burning cross was found in Grant Park in Chicago today, in broad daylight. So spare me the fairy tale about how racism is over and people are overreacting. And the cowards that burned that cross, they didn't stand there proudly. They didn't make some brave public argument. They lit the cross and ran, because that's what these people are. They're fucking cowards. They want the intimidation of racism without the accountability of being racist. And that's the country this Carmelo conversation is happening in. So when people look at a 35-year sentence and compare it to a white teenager who got a lesser conviction and lighter punishment for the same crime and say something is wrong here, stop pretending like you need a law degree to understand the point. The point is fairness. The point is consistency. The point is that justice and sentencing should not come with an adjustment based on race. Fair sentencing should not be a partisan issue. It should not be controversial to say that two kids who commit comparable crimes should face comparable consequences. And if your response to that is anger, maybe you should ask yourself why fairness pisses you off so much.
That part. Now, as I go forward, you're gonna notice a trend. A lot of the people whose videos that I'm showing the speaker is of Caucasian descent. There's a reason behind that. Because it's one thing to just hear us speak about it, right? Oh, it's they, them, they, those, right? But to hear people from their culture, their race, speak about this very thing and see the hypocrisy in it, to see the tragedy in it, to see the horrific, heinous ways in which people acted in this situation, and how Carmelo Anthony has been treated, tried, convicted, shipped off, and how they tried to ship and where they tried to ship him to, and all the things, even down to his counsel being ineffective. Understand, even though he's been found guilty, the fight is not over for this young man. Let's listen to OG Cowpoke, OG Cowboy. Check him out. Listen to what he got to say. Hey, Zola.
If Carmelo Anthony had been white, not only would he have not been convicted, there'd have never been charges. This is Old Texas Paul. Hope your coffee's as good as mine. Well, I hope it's better. I really do. Whole thing was a goddamn tragedy, and it was started by the kid that died. But if Carmelo Anthony had been white and the other kid had been black, these same people that are calling Carmelo Anthony a murderer would be celebrating him all over social media as standing up. Yeah. Young man, 14-year-old man by the name of Carmack Belton was his last name. Was chased down in South Carolina. Chased. The guy had to chase him and shot him in the back. Guy that shot him was white. Belton was black. That jury said self-defense. Because he was white.
Asian. Sorry about that.
The only reason Carmelo Anthony was convicted was because we are a broken, fucking, bigoted country, and Carmelo Anthony was black. Any other way you slice this, it would have been self-defense. We are that fucking broken.
Now, we all know that the verdict is in and things of that nature. And as of now, of this recording, they are indeed taking the steps that this next gentleman is talking about. But I want y'all to listen to what he's saying. I want y'all to listen to what he's saying. The verdict's in, now what? The first thing people think about is the appeal, the appeal. Just Life was goody like the mob. First thing people, but the appeal, got to appeal it. Yes. But that appeal can take 1, 2, 4, 5 years to get off the ground, get going, and get into court. And I think that that would be unfair. Our children don't really understand how racist this society is. We need to stop preparing them for encounters with racist people. We have to teach them how to respond. That part. Y'all check this individual out.
And he was found guilty. Good attorneys, huh? I mean, am I surprised at all? No. Because his attorneys fucking failed him, period. So, you guys want me to do something? You better get a hold of Carmelo's motherfucking family, bro. Because in Texas, you actually can bring ineffective assistance of counsel claims and ask for a motion in new trial within 30 days after his sentencing. You normally can't do that in other states. That's apparently the procedure over there. And his family needs to fucking contact me. And then I'll get an attorney in Texas and work with that motherfucking attorney. They need to fire their motherfucking attorneys yesterday. His fight's just begun, man. So, you know, yeah. Am I surprised? No. Not after I saw how this shit was going. 21 witnesses versus 6, and you don't even cross the 21? I mean, you know. I'll leave that up to y'all. You better find Carmelo's family and tell them to get in my DMs, man. Because, he just got fucking railroaded. Shouldn't have been first degree under any circumstance. No evidence.
He did a subsequent video where he said that people put him in touch with the people that I believe might have been the activists that are down there working with the family now, or whatever the case may be, but did put him in touch with the family or whatever. But speaking to what he said, ineffective counsel, meaning counsel that didn't do their due diligence, didn't do their job, who dropped the ball, who erroneously handled your defense, who purposely sold you up the river, so to speak. And people could say, well, how do you know that, Big Phil? How do you know that? You weren't in the courtroom, Big Phil Speaks. All of the information ain't came out about the trial yet, Big Phil Speaks. Okay, I give you that. But you want to know why I know he had ineffective counsel? And I've spoken about it before, but now I got the footage for you to actually see, was the fact that his counsel did not make Hunter Metcalf get his ass on that stand. Did not make Hunter Metcalf get his ass on that stand. Well, Phil, his brother, his twin brother, he might have been going through things and they might not want to, to stress him out further. Bullshit. Because Hunter, along with his mama, got in front of interviewers and talked about this situation leading up to the trial, not once, but twice, changing his story from the first time he spoke, which would have definitely given more credence to Carmelo Anthony's side and defense, to changing it up the second time, to coming up unavailable, to not being called by prosecution, to being unavailable and out of the court building and away from the court when the defense was doing their side, to showing back up to give his opinion as to why Carmelo Anthony should be sentenced with a lengthy sentencing after he was convicted. You think I'm just running my mouth? I know I'm Big Phil Speaks, pause, no Diddy. But here the receipts. Y'all check this out. Hunter, in his own words, huh?
And what happened? There was this kid, before I knew his name now, this kid was sitting under our tent at track, We asked him to move. He started getting aggressive. At track, we asked him to move. He started getting aggressive and talking reckless. And my brother stepped in and said, "You need to move." And he's like, "Make me move." Austin grabbed his backpack. I'm all the rain. We come back, we sit down, and this kid said something behind me. I've never met this kid in my entire life, never knew who he was. Said something just inappropriate and uncalled for, and I turned around and asked him who he was. He started getting really aggressive. And this kid said something behind me. I've never met this kid in my entire life, never knew who he was. Said something just inappropriate and uncalled for, and I he knew he wasn't supposed to be there. He was it's just a tragedy what happened.
And then what happened, Austin? After your brother stepped up, what happened then?
He stepped up over there, asked him to move, got aggressive. He grabbed the bag, and then I whipped my head around, and then all of a sudden I see him running down the bleachers, grabbing his chest. He just.
Who I can hear in the side, by the way. I think he's there in the room with you. I saw an interview last night. Okay, someone else. I saw an interview last night.
No, it's not as crazy.
Okay, someone else.
What happened? There was this kid, before I knew his name now, this kid was sitting under our
Those two videos were reason enough why his ass should have been on that stand. There was a reason why the prosecution didn't call him to be on the stand. He's an eyewitness to the whole situation, and he was not called. His emotional testimony could have rocked the jury and the proceedings in such a fashion that calling him should have been a priority for the prosecution. Except for the fact that they knew that his story was so jacked up and jaded and off, and he told conflicting accounts of things, that his testimony would have got ate up by a halfway decent attorney. So when they didn't call him, the defense should have added him to the witness list as a hostile witness. As a hostile witness, meaning a hostile witness is one that they bring before the court to testify, who doesn't want to testify, who more so is trying to represent the other side, but still doesn't want to testify for whatever, or is not called for whatever reason, to know that they will be testy, one, combative, and maybe difficult to get answers out of. His lawyer should have did that minimally. And the fact that he did not do that shows within itself that Carmelo Anthony had ineffective counsel. It was already set in stone when they picked every white juror. I think Carmelo was defending him. The problem is this, right? There's such a great divide and such a mass disparaging difference in the mentalities, in culture, in race, in people, that show itself in this situation right here. All the people that try to lie and say, oh, racism ain't a thing, oh, the hate ain't a thing, oh, this, that, and the third, be some of the same people perpetuating the bullshit, perpetuating the dysfunction, perpetuating the division, perpetuating the hateful bigotry that still permeates in certain areas throughout our country. and in the world in general, for that matter. And again, let me preface this by saying it's unfortunate that Austin Metcalf lost his life. That young man should be here today had things gone just a little bit different, right? Things should have been gone different to whereas them boys either should have just had words, went their separate ways. Or if it got down to it, they had fisticuffs, it was broke up, and they went home with their separate ways. However, it didn't work out that way. I don't know what was said in that courtroom. I know what reporters were saying, news agencies have been saying, and people that went into the court building that witnessed the case have said that allegedly Carmelo Anthony's attorney did little to no objecting to anything. That he really didn't cross-examine too many of the state's witnesses. That he did not present experts to compete, conflict, correct, or set the record straight as to all the elements of the situation, either being self-defense itself, a crime of passion, who was really the aggressor, who really wasn't the aggressor. Thus the reason why the cameras needed to be in there. But if you ask me, the fix was in before the trial started. Given the allegations and purported pictures, I ain't talking about the one picture that a lot of people are pushing around, but there's another picture allegedly showing the dad in the same picture with the judge and with the damn prosecutor. Which, on its face, if that is true, the judge should have recused himself. The prosecutor should have recused himself. Carmelo Anthony's lawyer should have filed a motion as to such. And if that judge would have denied himself from recusing himself, Carmelo Anthony's lawyer should have took it up to another court to get that judge up out of there. One, to get the prosecutor over the case, off the case. Two, which also shows ineffective counsel. If indeed what they're saying is true as to the lack of cross-examinations, effective, I ain't gonna say effective, but adequate cross-examination, presenting expert witnesses and or character witnesses, down to even after the guilty verdict, not contesting the fact of moving into the sentencing phase that fast so that Carmelo Anthony could have people from his neighborhood, his community, and or professional people, whether it be coaches, school entities, teachers, principals, or anybody he's worked with in the community. Hell, that lady whose son he saved, to have them to come and speak on his behalf in the sentencing phase as to why he shouldn't have been sentenced heavily. On top of the fact that there was no premeditation involved. Some people say, well, he had his hand in his backpack and that's premeditation. That's you preparing to defend yourself. That's different than going into that tent saying, I'm going to stab or unalive somebody in this tent. That's premeditation. To go into that tent and say, yeah, I'm about to get busy with somebody. I'm about to put it down. I'm about to poke somebody, pause. That's premeditation. However, grabbing something that you got for protection or feeling like you have to put your hand on or get ready with whatever it is you have around you is a form of self-protection. Even when and on top of the fact that he gave warning, in most states, in most cases, even in Texas, it would have been accepted on face value. It don't matter the argument they had ahead of time. It don't matter the bickering back and forth, teenage high school rivalry words about whose school was better, whose school was trash, you some garbage, and all the things. He gave that man fair warning. Unfortunately, Austin Metcalf did not heed that warning and invaded his circumference, his personal space. Put hands on him. Y'all heard it out your mouth yourself. Hunter said that Austin grabbed the book bag. Austin grabbed his book bag. There's other testimony saying that he was pushed. There's other testimony saying he was shoved. They say the video that some people have seen says a little bit more than that. Allegedly. Allegedly. They need to make a call down ATL to Michael Steele. Did you see the one when they said the head of the person over the jail has to say? I spoke to that earlier. And once, man, listen. I've talked to a couple people from down Texas who've been in and out the system, who've gone through court cases, who have told me that it's unheard of that they move an inmate from being convicted directly to prison. Now, he should have went to the correction center. He should have went to the detention center, either there in Collin County or Dallas Correctional, whatever the case may be. And then they would have came and got him on a bus with other inmates that were going up, we call it upstate, or going up the river, or going to their destination, their next destination. I'm talking about from California to DC to Virginia to Maryland to New York. People are either, I'm going to use New York for example, because some of y'all are out of New York. When people are being housed for trial and when they're convicted, they're either on Rikers Island, or they are, what's that, the detention center there in Brooklyn, or in I think it's one in Manhattan too, but I know it's one in Brooklyn and a couple other areas. They're housed there. And then after they're convicted, when they find bed space or where they're going to take them, they get called early in the morning to pack that bag up. And they're getting on a bus with other individuals that are either going up to the same institution that they're going to, prison, institution, correction, penitentiary, or wherever they're going, or somewhere else. I ain't never heard of nobody going straight from court to a prison. Jail, yes. Prison, no. Hell, some of the most infamous cases out here. Now, this is an infamous case, but I'm talking about infamous case. I'm going to use DC for example. Rayful Edmonds was housed at a detention center. He was housed in Virginia. Actually, they flew him in by helicopter. Once he got found guilty, he went back to said detention center until they gave him a bed space, and then from that point, they shipped him out to the feds to that bed space. Maryland, I know for a fact, if you're in Montgomery County, you're gonna be held at 7 Locks, which is in Rockville, or maybe Clarksburg. Is it Clarksburg? Clarksville? Clarksburg. But you could go from 7 Locks to Clarksburg while you're facing your trial, or even after you're convicted and doing short time. After that, when you found convicted and you got a certain amount of time, they send you to Hagerstown for your diagnostics and all that, and where they're going to send you, or they're going to keep you up Hagerstown, or they're going to send you somewhere else. If you're in PG County, you're going to be held at Upper Marlboro Detention Center. It was PG County Detention Center. I think it's one other they opened up now. However, while you're facing your time, while you're facing your trial, when you're convicted, after you're convicted, you're going to be right there until such day that they call you in the morning and say, Mr. White, pack your bags up. You already know what it is because you ain't going nowhere else. First thing in the morning, early in the morning. And you and other individuals that's going up the road, either whether it's from your unit or other units, going to go down to R&D and get prepared to get on them buses to go to your destination, which PG County usually is Jessup or other places. The Bay Area. I know people from Hayward, from Oakland, etc., who were held in jails, such as Santa Rita, until such time that they got found guilty. And they went back to Santa Rita till the time in which they were called to pack their shit up to go up to San Quentin or other institutions, Folsom, or any other various prisons or penitentiaries, different level situations across the state of California. But I ain't never. That's it right there. You're either in Rikers Island or Brooklyn House before you go up north to a prison. But how many of y'all that's been outside central bookings? Yeah. How many of y'all been outside and ever heard of your loved one who's got convicted, no matter what it was they got convicted of, going straight from the court building straight to the prison that they supposed to go to? It's unheard of. Then on top of it, where they were sending him to, into the hands of another Metcalf, who's directly related to the boy Austin who got unalived. Make that make sense. Make that make sense. That's another reason why everything that's going on with this young man needs to be expedited, down to the 30-day filing of ineffective counsel. Because if you ask me, the fix was in with that Bama too. I can't remember his attorney's name to save my life, but he ought to be ashamed of himself. A public defender probably would have defended Carmelo Anthony better. And he's a paid attorney, allegedly. Facts, Young Dreads. The closest I've heard people going up the road has been like the earliest matter of fact I seen was when I was in DC jail, and I seen people get called up 2-3 weeks out from the time they were sentenced. 2 to 3 weeks out. That's the earliest. But I ain't never heard of nobody. Quantico, they held him down. Quantico, facts. Mike Howard and Toby Shook, thank you so much. They ought to be ashamed of themselves. They need to be disbarred. Ain't no allegedly behind that. They need to be disbarred. And if it comes out that they were paid under the table or whatever the case may be to sell this boy up the river, whether it was for monetary gain, political gain, or promotion in the system, far as in elevation as attorney, maybe these Bamas want I don't know, but they should be disbarred and not allowed to practice law in the state of Texas or nowhere else for that matter. I said the same thing too, Severlin. I said the same thing. I also spoke to the fact of where are all the people? Where are all the celebrities? Where are all the influencers? Where are all the activists and all these things? Subsequently, hold on. Subsequently, Candace Matthews, y'all know that spicy Texas woman with the cowboy hat that be giving them the business. She's shown up down there, and supposedly they're working with the family. She said that before they had another individual working with them, and they didn't want to step on no toes because the family decided to kind of rock with the individual they were going with or whatever, for whatever intent, reason, person. And that individual is looking at it some kind of way. I mean, that individual is being looked at some kind of way, and they feel like that individual's kind of pushed them down this road of ill repute and betrayal and hypocrisy. Flip the network, I see you. The problem is this. Some people are worried about their sponsorships. They're worried about their acting gigs, their record deals, and all the things, but not worried about what could potentially affect them down the line, their family members, their children, their mama, their father, their spouse's family, their good friends, and or the communities they came up in. Des and D, super, what's up? I do want to play one person's response to this. And shout out to him for speaking up. I'm talking about comedian and actor Lil Rel. If y'all haven't seen this video yet, I love the way he eloquently spoke on this situation. And there needs to be more. That's the problem. People are worried about their pockets too much. And some of these people got enough of a pocket that it shouldn't even matter if they make no more money. But they'll put the dollar or the influence, overutilizing their influence for bettering the culture, bettering our situation, and standing in the gap and standing up for individuals like Carmelo Anthony, who wasn't a street thug, who wasn't a gangbanger, who wasn't a drug dealer, who was not a malicious or calculated, premeditated murderer. Should not have been convicted of murder one when there was no premeditation involved. Texas is still the South. That's true. That's true. However, that got to change too. That got to change too. Texas, Louisiana, Mississippi, Missouri, well, Florida in some places, Georgia in some places, Arkansas in some places, Tennessee. Any state that I missed, Alabama. Shit got to change. Some people in them areas be like, they don't bother us, we don't bother them. To stories like this happen. You're not allowed to be in certain cities and towns and whatever the case may be after a certain time. We in 2026, what are you saying? Or your life might be on the line or at jeopardy from either law enforcement or the citizens of that city or town. This is 2026. But they steady want to relocate and come to our cities that we had. Now they want to gentrify and take over our cities and things of that nature, but don't want us to be amongst them. Make that make sense. And I'm not saying all white people. I'm not saying all Asian people. I'm not saying all people of any color, race, or creed. But make it make sense. Make it make sense. Jasmine Crockett did speak on it. Y'all listen to Lil Rel and what he got to say. I gained a even greater amount of respect for Lil Rel with this. Check him out. Actor, comedian, Lil Rel.
Let's stop them from playing in our face. You may think something is just a joke and it's just comedy and all that shit. It all ties into everything that's happening now. So you got to figure out what side of history you want to stand on. You know what I'm saying? On some real shit. You can still be funny and do all the entertaining things, but when it's time to check a motherfucker, do it. Because it's tying into all this shit. If we keep letting them play in our face, all this stuff that's happening is going to keep happening. Playing in our faces, I mean that shit. You know, the young man just got 35 years yesterday for self-defense with an all-white jury. He was being bullied and he defended himself, and he's doing 35 years for murder. Just last week, the young man who was shot in the back and killed, his killer Rick Chow, whatever his damn name is, was not guilty. After chasing him down because he thought he stole some water bottles, shot him in the back and killed him. 2 grown men. Young man was 14. You can't make it okay for them to play in our face, y'all. When we make it comfortable to laugh at certain things, that shit translates to real life. Man, this is what's happening is historic. And you got to figure out what side of history you want to stand on. You know, at the end of the day, I'm an entertainer just like a lot of my friends are. And I believe in freedom of speech, and I'm a great stand-up comic. But freedom of speech go both ways. Also, I can check a motherfucker when I feel like something ain't right. And to be honest with you, I think we haven't understood what's happening, where all this shit ties into each other, whether you think so or not. So you're gonna have to stand on something. Stop letting these people play in our face, because if we keep letting them play in our face, they're gonna keep playing in our face. And not just playing, they're gonna keep murdering people in our face. They're gonna keep convicting people in our face. They're gonna keep taking away rights away from us in our face, because they think we just gonna think it's funny. And I'm going to keep creating things, hopefully to inspire people, to make you laugh, to give you joy. I think that's my job as an entertainer, because it is a lot happening in this world. And, you know, my job when I create the things I create, whether it's a stand-up, whether it's movies, whether it's TV, whatever it is, it's just to give you a little break. You know what I'm saying? And I'm going to do that because we all need it. That's what I use to get my breaks when I need it, because I take all this shit in. And I watch my favorite movies or shows or go to the movies or whatever just to give myself a break. And, yeah, I mean, this is just a time where, like, cool, I do that, and I'm going to continue to do that because I love what I do. But I am standing on some shit. And I'm just not going to let you play in our face like that. You do any of that shit in front of me, you definitely going to get fucking checked. Straight up. If you say some fucked up shit, you're going to get checked by me.
Something's happening with my Facebook account as we speak or whatever, so I'm gonna have to deal with that once I get off of here. I don't know if they're sanctioning me. I don't know if somebody then finagled their way inside of my shiggery. They shouldn't be able to, because I got the 2-part authentication, 2-step authentication. So we're gonna see what that's about once I get off here. But anyway, I'm gonna move forward. Maybe somebody's mad at the information I'm disseminating. Where am I at? That threw me right there, because I noticed that the broadcast over on Facebook went off. Anyway, shout out to Rail for standing up. Shout out to Rail for speaking his mind on what's going on. Speaking of speaking his mind, let's dig into the mind of Daddy Matt Metcalf. Let's dig into the mind of this good Christian father. On the one hand, I understand he lost one of his sons, right? I get it. But sometimes you let people talk long enough, they tell on themselves. And he has some very poignant, racist things to say. Y'all check this out. Old Jeff Metcalf.
The race card, black fatigue, it's real. I'm sorry. You're the only one in your family without a damn record. I guess that's something to brag about in your culture. I got a new name for Mello, okay? Because he was such this little boy y'all were trying to portray. How about watermelon felon. How's that one strike you? Soulless individuals who choose to monetize the death of a dead child or speak very derogatory of him or make memes and talk all over the internet about my son while I'm under a gag order and can't respond. It's like being tied to a chair and someone is slapping your face back and forth, and you can do nothing about it but take it. Well, that day is ended. The muzzle's off. And all you people, I'm telling you up front right now, this is a warning. Karma's a and if we want to talk individuals, we can, because I couldn't speak about this in court. But I can speak freely now because the gag order is lifted. Tiffany Billions, Wackadoo, Macadoo, whatever her last name is, I'm not going to throw insults at you because I'm not going to lower myself to your level. But you're despicable. Drew Anthony, Kayla, you're cowards. You wouldn't even show up for your son's sentencing or victim statement impacts. You abandoned your kid. You left him there. I guess he's no more use to you because you can't get any more GoFundMe money or GoSendGo money. You are grifters. You should be ashamed of yourself. You raised that child, and I swear to God, CPS should come check on those other 3 that you still have. Some people call me racist. Does it make me racist? No. Some people will ask you, do you know Jeff Metcalf? Yeah. What do you think about him? He's an asshole. Or, he's the greatest guy, he'll give you the shirt off his back. So, they both can be right. Because I give what you get. Or what you give, or to me, I'll give you back. So, am I racist? Yeah, I'm racist against assholes. I don't like them. I could care less about the color of your skin. We all bleed the same color. I respect everyone until they disrespect me. I've been disrespected by so many people, so many times while I've had to sit here and take it. I'm gonna tell you right now, Charleston White, you think you're funny? We'll see who's laughing. Drew Anthony, you're a pussy and a coward, and you raised one. Kayla, you drunk bitch.
That's the mother.
What'd you do to that boy to make him stab somebody? My God, what kind of mother are you?
That he's talking.
Hey, Kevin Hayes, you fucking liar. Day after it happened. How many lies did you sit and type up on your keyboard, you big keyboard warrior? You a big tough man. You still live in Baton Rouge? Remember you said you'd come to Frisco, buddy? You're supposed to find me. I told you we could sit down and talk. That's all you do. Talk, Mr. Squeaky Clean. You're the only one in your family without a damn record. I guess that's something to brag about in your culture. You people hang your hat on the dumbest shit I've ever seen. Let me make one up. Y'all can let me make something racist up so y'all can go viral. I got a new name for Mello, okay? Because he was such this little boy y'all were trying to portray. How about watermelon felon? How's that one strike you? I hope he enjoyed his first night in that cell last night, because he's going to have many nights to think about what the fuck he did. The race card, black fatigue, it's real. I'm sorry. You're the only one in your family without a damn record. I guess that's something to brag about in your culture.
Listen. Some of that is grieving father. Some of that's what's in him. Understand, the mentality of the daddy usually trickles through the children. Just like that of the mother trickles through to the children. which would say that maybe those Metcalf boys, Austin and Hunter, felt a sense of entitlement, superiority in what took place under their tent on that dreadful day when Austin lost his life. Just maybe. Des, exactly. But he probably thinks he's super insulated with the fact that he's cool with the judge, or maybe other judges too, and the prosecutor, maybe other prosecutors too. Collin County is home to a lot of well-off individuals. Maybe he feels untouchable. Maybe that's why this whole situation is going on with how they treated Carmelo with the case and how they rushed it. Understand something. Again, it goes to ineffective counsel, because ain't no way in hell his lawyer should have been cool with none of that rush bullshit. Yeah, it might have been time from the time he was charged to now they going to trial, but the way in which they rushed through it, when I heard that from the time it started that they were going to put the verdict in the hands of the jury by that Wednesday, I was like, how? How? It didn't make sense to me then. Whoever, this is blatant disrespect. It definitely is blatant disrespect. Rich Hart was good. Also, side note, I had somebody check on my on Facebook. They can't access certain things of Facebook neither. Check your Facebooks or whatever the case may be. There might be an outage at Facebook. It might just not be me. It just seemed real weird that happened during my show. However, there might be an outage or some errors going on with Facebook. I'll see, because I didn't get no inbox saying your account been disabled or suspended or nothing like that. But anyway, first off, the DEA has a case of his own. The dad. You talking about the dad? Facebook is down. Okay. I feel better now, because I was like, oh, somebody that got pissed by the shiggery I'm talking about. But it's all good. It's all good. And still I rise. The problem is this. It's too many of us that sit idly by when shit happens, because it doesn't sit in our home, or it doesn't sit on our block, or it doesn't happen in our city, state, community, or whatever the case may be. We get that, oh, that's on them. They must have did something mentality. Oh, I don't want no parts of it. It ain't got nothing to do with me. Until it hits your door. Until it hits your door. That's a fact, Rich Hart. That lawyer had to be paid off, because ain't no way you should have been guilty in Texas. He was in Texas. That's a fact. He was in Texas. But they've been saying all along, some of the bloggers and content creators down in that area, down in the Dallas area, said Collin County ain't to be fooled with. That they got a lot of bullshit. That it ain't a sundown town, but it's got some of that mentality going on around Collin County. Allegedly. The problem is that man was dealt with a certain way. Hold on, let me sidetrack too. The parents even spoke down to the GoFundMe or Give, Send, Go, or whatever the case may be. That they said that them getting a house, they didn't get it all for that money because they weren't allowed to receive any of that money, or whatever the case may be. That it was held, and now it's they took it away from them, or whatever the case may be, right? Similar situation with Chud the Dud, or whatever the case may be. There's been a lot of things reported allegedly that's not been true, even against Carmelo's family, or whatever the case may be. Then there were people that spoke on the fact that Carmelo Anthony's family was dressed a certain way. dress fashionable and all these things. Like, what the hell was they supposed to come in there looking like? They rolled out of bed with bonnets on and slippers and pajama pants and big t-shirts or skinny jeans or some dumb. How was they supposed to dress? Make that make sense. Some people feel like Carmelo should have been punished in some way for what took place, for his role in it. Okay, cool. But his punishment should have damn sure met equality to other such individuals who've done things such as, or even worse, and got lesser time. Thus, we talked about earlier, and I showed cases, and the young lady who spoke talked about another case in which the young man got so much less time. He got found guilty of negligent homicide for the same thing, stabbing somebody else at a school or a school function or whatever the case may be. But they had enhancements that went up to 10 years, made it 10 years. But because of the color of his skin, that's why he got what he got. Even though Collin County is Collin County, there are places and people within Collin counties that look like me, that look like the darkest of us and all the things. But only three black people were in the jury pool to be excluded. Only 3. And I get why the prosecutor wouldn't want any black people on their jury. I get that. But summarily, did the lawyer put up enough fight over the 3 being excluded? Because they give you a certain amount of exclusions that you get to say, oh no, this one, oh no, that one, oh no. I know from personal experience. Should he have said that I object and I will appeal this right here? Because how can you say that's a jury of his peers and none of those people look like him, come from where he come from, have any understanding of the nuances of being a black man in the United States, let alone in the state of Texas? How were any of them a jury of his peers? Oh yeah, I seen those cases. It feels like it hit my door because I feel for that young kid. Can you imagine what that young kid feeling? Man, I'm so angry. Us black people need to get it together and take theirs. Listen, those wasn't public defenders though. Those weren't public defenders. Racial breakdown was mostly white and Asian though, Phil. It was only a couple Asian and Indian people on there. I think maybe 2 out of the 12, 3 out of the 12. The rest were mostly white. That's not a jury of his peers. It's not. It's not. The jury should have been more racially balanced. When they selected the jury pool, from my familiarity with the jury pool, they send out notices, you are required to come to jury duty or whatever the case may be, right? They have different pools. They have different pools that are notified, not for that case, but for cases. Seems to me they picked that pool because of the minimal amount of African Americans or black folks that were in it. Seems to me. And then from there, they knew the prosecution had the upper hand in who he wanted to exclude or who he was going to exclude first. Because I think they gave up to 10 exclusions per side off the break. And if there are only 3 black jurors in the jury pool, then you know those 3 are going to be 3 out of the 10 that they're going to get rid of. From what I was told, Sarah Lynn, from people that live down in that Texas, there's more black people than that. In not in the exact little city, but like in Frisco. Hell, what's the name lived in Prosper, or lives in Prosper. Sanders, Deion Sanders and family. Facebook is down, IG is down, comments logging in and out. Oh, IG is hit too? Now that's weird. Something's going down if IG's hit too, but they owned by the same people. On my end, though, it seemed like it's still running though. Hold on, let me look over on my IG and see what's popping. That's weird. I Google Frisco in the actual high school. Yes, Frisco, McKinney, Allen, Plano has a lot of us. Probably AWS down. Could be. The point of the matter is this, right? It don't matter the statistics of how many people in the town or whatever the case may be. There's enough people that they could have had more than 3 potential Black African American jurors on there, or Latino jurors. Yeah, it's black in the DFW. Yeah, in that portion, that's a fact. And that's another thing. That's another thing that shows ineffective counsel, because his counsel, one, should have, if the history of Collin County is what it is, his counsel should have moved for it to be moved out of Collin County. Long as it's in the state of Texas, he should have moved to have the jurisdiction moved, the court to be moved to somewhere else, whether it was Dallas County or somewhere else. They should have moved to have that case done somewhere else, because of the history of Collin County, from what I've been hearing, allegedly. The problem is this, and the point is this. The problem and the point is this. If they ain't gonna do right by us, we gotta get into a place and space where we demand them do right by us. And that starts with us being more united as a people, as communities. And when we see injustice, we stand up and speak up and speak out and actively get involved. He'll get off on appeal, but he shouldn't even be guilty, though. Yeah, but Rich Hart, the appeal can take couple years, 5 years, whatever the case may be. The best bet they got is ineffective counsel, which is they can file within 30 days. That's probably at this point the best bet to get the earliest chance of either him being released, exonerated, or judge throwing out the verdict and ordering a new trial. They already knew what they was going to give that young man. They was all working together. That's a fact. There's even down to where they snuck him out the back door and sent him to, or tried to send him to, with the Byrd unit. Being the senior warden of Byrd unit is Talon Metcalf. Tallan Metcalf. You think I'm lying? Look it up. Google it. They was setting that man up to die. Now, even down to the head shaving. I didn't know Texas was one of them states where they did that when inmates go to jail. Now, some of my other brothers, Reason, you could tell me. D Blade, if you in here, you could tell me. Or anybody else that's in here from Texas that got any involvements, whether it's personal or family members that have been locked up or incarcerated anywhere in the state of Texas, do they shave everybody's head when they go to jail? I know they don't do that here. I know in Virginia, it's one jail that you go to that they shave your head off when you come to that jail. It don't matter if you was already serving time or you fresh on a sentence. Suffolk, when you go into Suffolk or whatever the case may be, they shave your head off the first go around or whatever the case may be. Can he get out earlier than the 35 like with good behavior? With good behavior, he'll get out around 17 and a half. But that's if they allow him to get out, because it's not guaranteed that he gets out. He'll have the alleged eligibility to get out in halftime. And you don't know. Yeah, their head is shaved when they first go in. Okay. I ain't never been to prison. I'm not sure. Okay, respect. And see, that's the thing too, because with the Metcalf's people being a warden, wardens talk to each other. They can make that young man's time real miserable and real hard, if you know what I mean, and put him in a position the way he run his time up or never get out of there. That's another issue. I'm from Jersey. I moved out here 15 years ago. Oh, my bad, reason. Yeah, exactly. So yes, there's the possibility of him getting out in 17 and a half years, but that's 17 and a half years he shouldn't have to do. 17 and a half years he shouldn't have to do. If you're of the mind that says, oh, he ought to be punished because he did pull a knife on the guy or whatever the case may be, negligent homicide, 6 months to 2 years. With enhancement, he might have got 5, maybe 10 years, maybe, right? But I brung this up before. I was on I think I was on Ratchet's Live and I spoke to it somewhere else. People are acting as if he sat there and just went to town on Austin Metcalf. And I'm not trying to speak down or lessen the loss of Austin Metcalf. That's not what I'm trying to do. But people are sitting there looking or talking about Carmelo Anthony as if he sat there and was just going to work with whatever blade he had and just poked Austin up. It just so happened the one poke he did hit his heart. He didn't intentionally try to hit his heart. He just tried to get him up off of him. That's a defensive posture or counter defense or counter offense counter offense posture. But he didn't sit there like poking him up. It's a lot that just don't sit right in this situation. And I know some of y'all are tired of hearing about it, tired of hearing me talk about it, tired of the things. And I get that. I understand. But this is pivotal because it could happen to you. It could happen to your children. It could happen to your babies. It could happen to your loved ones. It could happen to your spouses. It could happen to you. I don't know if I said that before. Or it could happen to somebody in your community that you are familiar with. And then that's when you're going to feel away. You should feel away today. You should feel away for Cyrus Carmack Belton. Because that could have been your baby boy. That could have been your nephew. That could have been your little bro. That could have been your little brother. That could have been your best friend. That could have been your son, your best friend's child. It could have been your high school sweetheart's son, or whatever the case may be. Could have been somebody like you or yours. Stop waiting until it hits your door, your city, your state for it to mean something to you. Stop. We need to gain our humanity back. I know things have happened that have kind of made us desensitized to a lot of things. I know for years I was desensitized to a lot, being outside during the crack era and seeing and being involved with a lot. And I know a lot made me so desensitized. Hey, me so blessed, the young man killed could be my son. That part. That part. That part. I got a son of a similar age as him. I'm somebody that went through a trial such as him. It's time out for the extras. It's time out for all the idolizing and putting some of these personalities, celebrities, content creators, influencers on pedestals. If they ain't about nothing, then that's where they need to be left, about nothing. If they not willing to stand up for something, then you should give them less of your time, energy, money, or support. If they not trying to speak up and be heard in moments like this, then they shouldn't be heard doing other times. And I get it. Some people say, well, everybody's not a role model. Everybody's not an activist. Everybody's not. But one thing we all are human beings. One thing we all are bodies, vessels that pump blood, that have a heartbeat, that have a brain that functions, that have emotions and a nervous system, that can feel, that can sense, that can taste, that can touch. Pause. No diddy. That can hear, that can see. And if anybody feels as though what took place is not something that affects the heart and the mind, something's off in them. Period. I hope your nephew's doing fine, Sarah Lynn. I pray that all is well with him. I'm sorry to hear that. Excuse me. I get it. We get on these internet streets sometimes for relief, for shits and giggles, to watch the drama, the bullshittery, to find out about new music, sometimes to find somebody, whether it's for some freakiness or you really may be looking for somebody and you tired of looking around you. Whatever the case may be, or breaking news, or trending topics, or things for your house or your business, or to promote your business. All of the things. But we can't get so caught up in everything else that we lose sensibility, that we lose empathy, sympathy for certain things, certain peoples, and certain situations. Because again, for the lack of empathy and sympathy you might have in somebody else's situation, when it hits your door, you're going to be crying out and wondering why people are not coming to your aid or why people won't speak up on your situation. Yeah, we definitely don't feel the love tonight, Des. Side note, for those watching and listening, feel the love. Come be a part of the adult conversation where we talk about intimacy, dating, marriage, sex, intimacy, relationships, courting, all the things from a very grown perspective. It is real spicy, real sexy, and sometimes salacious. 8 to 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time here on YouTube.com/Big Phil Speaks. Make sure them kids are put to bed, though. You hear me? My nephew is doing better than my bro. Pray for him. I know that's right, man. I will pray over that. I'm just saying, folks, sometimes we gotta get up off our sofa, get up out of our beds, get up out the windows and peek in and step outside to say enough is enough. When we see brutality, when we see racism, when we see profiling, when we see the bullshit of our own community, sometimes we got to say enough is enough. And be willing to stand on something. Stand on something. At the end of the day, ladies and gentlemen, it's a very unfortunate situation, yes. A young man has lost his life in this. His future gone just like that. Yes. Another young man, to me, has been railroaded and has been made more than an example out of for defending himself, who might have just just as well lost his life, even though he's lost a lot of his future in this sentence. Because I think he was signed, he was supposed to go to LSU and all these things or whatever. So this is not a fun situation. This is not a situation to be happy about. This is not an opportunity to gloat. This ain't even an opportunity to say F them and F that. This is an opportunity to rally around this young man. And if this be your first time rallying around or behind somebody, let it be the proving ground, the stomping ground, the starting ground for you rallying behind others who might be getting treated with the shit in of the stick. Whether it be close to you or far away from you. Something has to start somewhere. Same way as I had to start this show one day and say, I'm just gonna do this show and get up on this mic and talk to y'all. I'm talking about episode 1. I'm talking about before this, even when I was doing the morning show on Flip the Network with Queen's Flip. Even before that, when I was doing my little lives and cams up pre-recorded content I did before I got involved with the FDN. Some point we all have to make decisions in our lives to do something, and not just do this, not just be giving lip service, to be willing to do something. We need to stand on truth. Race is not always a factor. Sometimes it's just right and wrong. He had a choice to make, and this is the consequences. We know better. We must do better. But who's to say you would make the same choice in the same circumstances, though? Who's to say? Who's to say? The other boy's stature was way bigger than his. I'm just saying. We don't even know if he was ever a fighter. There was a story coming out that one of the family members took him to train to learn boxing, but that was after this whole situation took place. I just hope and pray that what's going on with Carmelo Anthony doesn't greet your door. It's bad enough that it greets your eyes and your ears by way of these social media outlets and things, these internet streets. But I hope that it doesn't personally meet you at your door. And you unfortunately get to know or experience what he's facing and experiencing, and his family, friends, and supporters are facing and experiencing. And on the flip side of that, I hope that it doesn't meet your door that you lose your child at the hands of maybe some, if not all their responsibility, some of their own responsibility in the matter. I pray that doesn't meet none of your door. That's true, Sarah Lynn. The point is that everybody should be willing to do something. Say something. Everybody ain't meant to be on the front line. Everybody ain't meant to be outside with a picket sign or doing whatever. Some need to be online. Some need to be visually relaying the message or disseminating the information. Some people need to be bloggers, podcasters, etc. We all need to do something. It's nobody's excuse as to why our communities are still fractured, but us. It's nobody else's business. It's nobody else's problem. It's nobody else's doing. At this point, if we keep our neighborhoods and our communities fractured, it's us that's doing it. Because we see everything going on. It's up to us to do something about it. There was a time when we couldn't move around, when we had to be amongst us and deal with us, work things out with us, get along with us, lean on us, do business with us, help us, save us, and even deal with us when there's infractions. Community. Community. And whether you believe it or not, we got the power to dictate some of these laws that especially local laws or local statutes or statewide statutes in cites, citations, statutes, codes, whatever. But a lot of us don't know that. A lot of us stay distracted with all the bullshittery that goes on, which is cool. But I'm a heavy proponent that we all need balance. Without balance, hey, Rich, what's good? Was it really defense? It's not adding up to that. I'm not racially triggered by any situation. I look at facts. I have family members in prison for actions they took. So, what facts do you see? What facts are you in Texas? Are you in Collin County? Were you in the courtrooms? What facts do you know that says that it's not self-defense? When in fact, the boy's own brother says that his brother, the one that got unalive, approached him, that he slipped up and said the brother grabbed his property and or him, when there were all witnesses that says that minimally he put hands on him and shoved or pushed him minimally. What facts is it that you have, me so blessed, that you know are factual in this case to say that it doesn't say self-defense? Did Carmelo get up, approach Austin Hunter or the twins or his friends? No matter what verbals was said, oh, your school trash, your school trash, your team suck. That happens all the time. No matter about none of that, did Carmelo, matter of fact, they say factually, it's been testified to that Carmelo didn't even get up off the bleacher he was sitting on when he was being talked to by Austin. It was Austin that approached him in a menacing way. What other facts do you have? And I'm not coming at you, me so blessed. I'm not trying to talk to you no kind of way, and I don't feel a way. Everybody has their own opinions or whatever the case may be. But I'm trying to open it up for dialogue. And if you want me to, I'll put the link out and you can come up and talk to me if you want to. He did not have to take himself to the opposing team's side. He could have left like many others on his team. Why would he have a bingo? Cool. He didn't have what we deem a knife. He didn't have a fixed blade knife. He didn't even have a pocket knife. He had a multi-tool. If you know what a multi-tool is, it has screwdrivers on it. It has other things on it, as well as a little knife blade. And it's been reported that it was used for dealing with his cleats or whatever the case may be. Until everything comes out about that, I'll leave that there, though. I'll leave that part there. Now, me so blessed. I don't know if you've ever been on a football team, basketball team, soccer team, track team, or whatever the case may be at your school, at somebody else's school, or at a regional meet to where kids walk around and talk to other kids or interact. He was invited to come sit under the tent. That's factual. That's been said in court. That's factual. Even though the boy, Eddie, tried to take that back and say that he didn't know Carmelo, but it came out factually that indeed Eddie and Carmelo's girlfriend are friends and they've double dated together. So Eddie, this kid Eddie, who I guess goes to that school, invited Carmelo to come sit down under said tent. And that happens all the time. All the time. And it's factually stated in open court that Carmelo was there before the twins and their friends got under the tent. He was sitting there before they came up along. That's factual. That's factual. Yes, he could have left. Yes, he could have left. But why did he have to leave? Why did he have to leave? Why? Thalia Poppins, hey, people tend to only care when directly affected or they want to get keyboard angry. Change won't happen until we change individually. It's going to get worse before it gets better. Thalia Poppins, I agree with that statement. It's unfortunate and sad, but things probably gonna get worse before they get better. And until we change, then yeah. There you go. Allegedly, his girlfriend was Eddie's cousin. And again, me so blessed. I'm not upset. I'm not angry. But if you want me to, I'll put the link out. You can come up and talk to. We can have a tay-to-tay. We can have a conversation. And maybe you'll put me on to some things that factually I ain't heard or seen yet. Maybe you will. But yes, we all got decisions. Maybe he could have left, right? But maybe Austin. See, you're saying what Carmelo should have did, but everybody's shying away from what Austin should have did or should have not did. If Carmelo has some culpability to what he did, so does Austin Metcalf in his own demise. Because at the end of the day, he didn't have to approach Carmelo at all. And after he was given warning, no matter what he thought it was or didn't think it was, he could have went and got the proper authorities, coaches, school resource officers, teachers, or whoever else that might have been track officials who were at that place. He could have got up and went and got them and said, this boy is up on our 10, he shouldn't be here, da-da-da-da. He could have did that. And that's a fact. I got you. I'm going to put the link up now. Give me a second so I can pin it to the top. I got you. La da 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 dooby dooby doo doo. Why do I not see you? Here we go. Okay, boom. Let me pin it to the Tiz Na Ye. I had this open. The link is pinned at the top. Me so blessed. Click on it. It should bring you right on over. You might have to copy it and put it in your browser and come talk to me. There she go. Okay, give me a second so I can set up the scene for you, and then we got it. Hold on, I got you. Hold up. Where is the daggone thing at? Okay, boom, bop, bam. Do 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 do. Me so blessed. You got to unmute your mic. You don't have to turn your camera on if you don't want it on, but you got to unmute your mic so we can have dialogue. You turned your camera on. I don't know if you want to turn your mic off. Yeah. You gonna unmute your mic? You want me to try to unmute it for you? To the Tiz Naheem, y'all bugged out. Me so blessed. If you want me to unmute your mic, turn the camera on and put your thumb in the camera so I can do it. Because I don't want to just inadvertently put your mic on and you're not ready or whatever. Okay. It says no audio source. Do me a favor. click the settings. Hold on, let me see if I can do it on my end. Settings, audio. Hold on. For whatever reason, it's saying your audio. You might have to give, I don't know if you're on your phone or on your computer, but you got to give permission. You got to make sure the audio section that your microphone is on whatever mic source that you have available. Your camera's good because you can turn that on and off, but the audio part of it, and it's a way you should be able to click. You should see a cogwheel either below the screen or by your picture where you can change your settings or whatever, and that will allow you to unmute and mute. We're gonna work this out, ladies and gentlemen, because you tried. Come out and come back in. Come out and come back in. I don't know what browser you're using, whether you're using Chrome or Safari or whatever the case may be. Try Chrome or Google and try to set the settings before you come all the way into the room. Before you come in the room, there should be under it, it should be like a cogwheel. You click on that for settings, and it should say audio. You click on that, and you can assign the, what you call it. I don't know why it wouldn't let me come in audibly. Were you using Google? Was you using Chrome? Or what browser were you using? You're always on my mind. All the time. You're always on my mind. Terry said use Safari. We assuming that she's on a Mac. She might not be on a Mac. Are you on a Mac or PC, Me So Blessed? Or are you doing it from your phone? All the time. All the time. Sarah Lynn said, I reached out to BLM people years ago about setting up legal hubs for our communities where we can get advice and reputable representation. Never heard back from them. We need something like that. That's a fact. You have to be on Safari if on the iPhone. There you go. You're right. You could do it from Chrome, though. You definitely could do it from Chrome. When I joined, it defaults to Safari from my phone. Okay. Salute. Thank you, Thalia. Thank you, Terry Murray. All the time. I'm trying to wait to see if she can get it right or whatever the case may be, because I would love to have the dialogue. You're always on my mind. You. Anyway, as I wait to see if she can come up or whatever the case may be. Again, we as people, we as individuals, we within our families need to be the catalyst for change. Need to be the catalyst for change. And in doing so, we can change up multiple things. We can change up race relations. We can change up feeling uncomfortable in the midst of other people and from other ethnic backgrounds and situations. We can also make people sure of themselves and assertive without being disrespectful or rude. We can also teach empathy, sympathy, compassion, understanding, patience. We can teach people how to effectively and intelligently deal with racial profiling, bigotry, all the things. There's a lot that can be done from within your own home. A lot. I've been doing a lot of political lobbying lately. We also need to show up more often in those spaces, especially our black men. Facts. That's true. That's true. Most black organizations are secretly funded by them people. True. That's true. And understand, just because we're trying to gain foothold or some glue back to our community does not mean that we cannot or will not or should not associate, take the helping hand of, or welcome in people from other races and cultures. It doesn't mean that. Just as much as everybody that looks like us or the darkest of us isn't necessarily going to align with the common agenda of us. Okay, here she come. Hold on, let me get you in there like swimwear. You're always on my mind. Me so blessed. Are you able to unmute? Still says no audio source. Trying to see if I can change it for you, but it's not allowing me to. Okay, hold on. Audio. Unmute request sent. Can you, I don't know why it's not showing audio input. Allow moderator to change setting in the studio. Camera facing front. Resolution. It's not showing. Whatever you on is not even showing that it's there. Speak into your mic and see if you hear yourself. You're always on my mind. I don't know why. Hold on. Some of them folks also have zero interest loans for school and stuff. I need all type of allies in my corner. That's important too, Sarah Lynn. Because some of us, you know where racism, some of it extends from? Jealousy, racism, things of kind of in that area. Most of it comes from not knowing and misunderstanding. And from not knowing and misunderstanding, then comes prejudices from things we've learned, things we've heard from other individuals, but we ain't experienced it ourselves. We don't know it to be factual. And so we carry that on, and then we kind of bring about other situations. And it's true for both sides, not just one side, but both sides. You there, Miso? She's up here. And she's able to turn her camera on, but even when I go to do the settings, it doesn't show what her inputs are for me to change them from my side. It doesn't say whether she's on the iPhone, doesn't say whether she's on a Samsung. It doesn't say any of the things. You're always on my mind. Damn. I so want to have this conversation. Me so blessed. I don't know what's going on. The world be boring as hell if we all had the same exact. Of course not. Yeah. We all individuals though, Sarah Lynn. I'm different from you, just like you different from me. You different from Peep Scheme as Peep Scheme is different from me. We're all individuals. That's why our fingerprints are what they are. We might have some of the same thought processes, but then we got different ones. We might like some of the same things, but then we dislike some different things or like different things too. That's what makes us individuals. But collectively, we have to be able to get on the same page to effectively bring about change in our homes, in our communities, in legislation, and the whole nine. We have to do that. Maybe inbox her behind the scenes. I don't know what her IG is. Me so blessed if you're in the room. What she said makes sense. Inbox me at Big Phil Speaks on IG, and we can either set this up for sometime tomorrow or Monday to have this dialogue. If and in that way I can work with you to kind of get it together so you can be able to talk and speak or whatever the case may be. Because I invite the various dialogues. I'm not one to where it's my way or the highway when it comes to thinking. I can only account for the way I think and the way I act. And if I'm wrong or something, to man enough to take accountability for that or whatever. Okay, here she go. Okay, and the mic is on. Hold on, I got you. I can. Hold on one second. I got you. Oh, she's in the building. You did good. I'm glad you did. How you doing this morning?
I'm good. How are you?
Blessed. Can't complain too much.
Okay, I want to start off by saying that I wasn't like coming against you in the comments.
No, no,
I
no.
just have a different opinion
And you can.
about this whole situation.
Sure.
Okay. So first, I worked in the prison system for 10 years
Uh-huh.
in a men's prison. And
Hmm.
so I saw quite often the inability to take accountability for your actions.
Sure.
Everybody had a story. It always started off with, it was one weekend. I'm in Vegas. And
Okay.
so, a lot can happen in a weekend.
True,
A
true.
lot of men that were there came for the weekend and it ended up in a different situation. So my thing is, regardless of and I know that racism is in the judicial system in America.
Sure.
It's real bad.
Sure.
It's been bad. It hasn't changed. The face of racism has changed. The verbiage has changed, but the outcome has not.
True.
And because we know that, I'm not saying that we should tiptoe through society, but because we know that our children are held at a different standard. We are held at a different standard. Even in self defense, we are held at a
Mm.
different standard. And
True.
so,
That's so
because we
true.
know this, we have to take actions and accountability to do things in a certain way so that we don't suffer the consequences of that in America. We know that.
I respect
We
that.
know that.
Hmm.
I'm not saying this young man, none of us were actually there and know the full extent of the situation.
True, one way or the
But
other.
in
You're
all
right.
actuality, it could have been avoided. Yes, I ran track. I was a cheerleader. We had cheer competitions, but I never went to the opposing team's tent or what I'm saying area to be I mean, you're already irritated. You lost. You already feel a certain way. We don't know, what was said, what was the back and forth. We don't know everything. We're listening to other people's accounts of what
Accounts of
happened,
it.
but
True.
because we weren't actually there, we don't know. But at what point did he not have to take out the whatever he had and use it to maybe defend himself, but to the point of taking someone else's life? And these are the consequences that came of it.
Okay. Do you mind if I interject for a moment?
Not at all.
I'm gonna start with the last part. You said when and how, or when was it that he took his knife out, or whatever the case may be, or the multi tool
Hmm. Hmm.
and utilize it. One, he gave warning before the guy assaulted him. From what they're saying, that he assaulted him, not Carmelo assaulting the other guy. Carmelo was still
Hmm.
sitting down. The guy was over him and then put hands on him in some capacity. Now,
Hmm.
my thing is this: I really truly don't feel like Carmelo meant to hit him in the heart or was trained or in the right thought process to think to hit him in the heart. I think he was just trying to get him off of and poked him. Again, he didn't from what's been put out there, he didn't like just poke him up like somebody that's going through it or like really
Mhm.
angry or whatever. So that
Mhm.
there has been no testimony from either side that took place. It's just unfortunate that the one place he poked him happened to be in his heart or whatever the case may be.
Mhm. Mhm.
Now you're correct. He could have very well left. He could have very well left. But I would beg to differ that Austin could have done something different too, because again
Mhm.
he was invited over. You never. My daughter was a cheerleader. My son
Mhm.
played basketball. My other one was in track. I played football for a spell. We always went over to the other side. One, for me, I'm gonna say personally, if we was trying to get at the little, little honey buns from the other school,
Right.
but also not just
Right.
that, but you might know somebody that go to that school and they say, "Hey, Phil," or "Hey, me so blessed, come here."
Mhm. Mhm.
And allegedly, well, not even allegedly, factually, that's what's been presented. That's what the guy Eddie did. Eddie invited Carmelo over, and he came and sat down. Carmelo didn't just
Mhm.
bum rush or invade their tent. He was asked over to sit down. Now, I don't know
Right.
if he was talking to Eddie about the teams or whatever the case may be, but allegedly Austin, his brother, and a few others came into the tent, sat down. They weren't even allegedly, supposedly paying attention to Carmelo at all, but they overheard
Right.
him talking. And Carmelo, which kids do, oh, your school trash. Nah, your school trash. The shit that we do, or whatever the case may be. Which they
Right.
could, like you
Right.
said, could have felt a way about that. And kids
Mhm.
do get into back and forth dialogue about that.
Right. Right.
Now, from escalating from just the back and forth dialogue to F you, this or that, whatever the case may be. Yes, Carmelo could have just said, "Psh, you know what, fuck F you, I'm out." So could have Austin, or Austin could have went and got somebody. And I think that a lot of people are saying that Carmelo had the chance to and or is being held accountable for his lack of judgment or lack of doing something different. But not enough people are saying the same when it comes to Austin, who was the aggressor, allegedly, the physical aggressor. I'm not talking about verbals. Who stuck? Because I don't know. Because like you said, we weren't there. I don't know who sparked all the back and forth and if it got visceral
Mhm.
or whatever the
Mhm.
case may be. But it
Right.
is being said that Austin initiated the physicalities or whatever the case may be. And he was a bigger dude.
Mhm.
Him and his brother bigger. The other 2 to 3 dudes that was with him don't know how big they was. Now think about this: in the world and time we live in, I don't know how close everybody got. They say Austin stepped forward, but you don't know if the other individuals got up and got closer. That could be very alarming and scary for somebody, especially if a couple of them bigger than you and you by yourself. And you kind of know Eddie, or you know Eddie, but you don't know how Eddie gonna get down, and or you don't know if Carmelo, because I don't think Carmelo was a fighter for real, to be honest. But in that sense, but in the moment, and they say everything happened so fast. In the moment, we don't know what we would have did. Whether we would have got up and left, or whether we would have stood our ground, whether we would have been like, I got a right to be here just like you, or got into a fisticle of fist, fisticuff with fist, or reached to grab
Mhm.
something, whether it was a pencil, pen, or whatever. None of us really knows what we gonna do in the moment until we're presented with that moment. Because it's easy for us to say, "Oh, I would never do that," or "I would have never stabbed him," or "I would have never," or "I wouldn't have been under that tent," or "I wouldn't have da 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 da," until we're presented with that situation. To be honest and to be fair for both sides, we just don't know. And
Mhm.
and and it's easy for all of us, me, you, everybody else, to speak our opinions and how we feel about it. That's human nature, though. We're gonna do that, and especially,
Mhm.
how old are you, by the way, if you don't mind me asking?
Say it again.
How old are you, if you don't mind me asking?
Well, I'll just tell you, I have a 27-year-old son.
There you
I'll
go.
put it like that.
That's why I was asking, because I was going. The next question was, do you got any babies, any
Yeah.
children, and things?
Yeah.
So you know, I've been saying this for my last couple shows. I don't know if you've been here, but I was like, how would you want your child treated? How would you want your child to react? Would you want them to defend themselves, or would you just want them to take flight, or or flee from the situation?
I tell my
And,
son to have relational intelligence.
sure,
So that means you're not you're a leader. You're not a follower.
there you go.
So you don't follow the crowd. You don't
Yeah,
participate in things that you know that won't bring you integrity. You
got
don't.
you.
If you're with somebody and they're a loudmouth and they like starting stuff with strangers, that's not your friend. That's not
Sure,
somebody you hang out with. That's not,
sure.
you know what I'm saying? I
Hmm.
taught him these things at a very young age. And I'm not saying that he always made the right decision, but I taught him this and I taught him you have to pick your battles. You have to know when to
Mm,
walk away.
mm.
And for males it's different because, and especially for a black male, it may be different because you have to show people. You have to, you know what I'm saying? It's show and tell out
Yeah,
here
yeah.
with young people nowadays. It's not, it's not the same as my generation.
Sure,
We used to fight after school, but it was a
sure.
fight. Nobody was taking a life. Like we're
Yeah,
gonna meet up at Burger King and we're gonna hash it out,
you have
and
at
then
it.
we're gonna
Yeah,
get something to eat and we're gonna be cool the next day.
yeah.
Now it's turned into I'm gonna take your life. So it's
Hmm.
a different type of situation.
True.
All I'm saying is, you know, in this society, I personally am tired of everything turning into race when a lot of things are actually spiritual. It's not black versus white. It's good
Ah,
versus evil.
that's
It's
that's
not
another
always,
conversation. You're right.
it's good. You know, the young man that he killed is never coming home. Even
Hmm.
if Carmelo gets out in 17 years, this young man is gone.
True. True.
There are two families mourning right now.
True.
Carmelo had a bright future ahead of him. The
Real
other young
bright.
man had a bright future, real bright, had
Mm-hmm.
a future ahead of him, and they're both gone. So at the end of the day, is it really about race?
Um, Maybe not in the moment between them, no, but in subsequent actions of us, the onlookers, the people that want to come to the support, the aid of, who feel away from either side, especially in the area. I know people that are in the Dallas Fort Worth area, and they say that Collins County um, is notorious for certain things, or whatever the case may be, whether big or small or whatever. Um, but some of the actions in the whole situation, even the disparity in the sentencing, even in the disparity of how they took on the case, how they operated the case, even the disparity in how his counsel did allegedly barely nothing to defend him in the case. It because there's cases. I don't know how long you was in my live or whatever, but I put up a video of a young lady talking about a case, and it sounded like she was talking about the Carmelo and Austin situation, but she was talking about something totally different, where it was a white boy
Mhm.
that unalived somebody, and what type of time he got, what he got, which, if anything, I said, if they weren't going to accept the self-defense, that he should have got negligent homicide, which carried a whole lot
But
less time.
because we know this about the judicial system in America,
Sure.
when are we going to take accountability and make better choices so that we don't fall into that
Fall
trap?
into it.
We know it's there. We know we're not going to get the justice. We know we're not going to get the same sentencing. We know this.
Mm,
Like that
okay.
is that's what they call insanity, doing the same thing over and over and over and
Expecting.
expecting different results. We're not going to get different results. And we know that.
I
We know
respect that,
that.
and you're right.
We know
But
that.
you know
We
what I
know
want to
that.
beg to differ? No matter how smart and how bright Carmelo was, he still was a teenager. That doesn't give him an escape clause. But think about some of the
But
things
in
we
the
did as
judicial
a teenager.
system, they don't look at him as a teen. They
I
look at
know
him
that.
as a grown
I
man. They
know
do our children
I
like
know
that
that.
all the time. Yeah.
I know that. You know that. But at that
Yeah.
age, they might not be registering that. And with all intents and purposes, he doesn't seem like he comes from that outside world anyway, to whereas,
Right.
so that might be part of it too, the naivete or whatever, not being
Hmm.
fully prepared for it. But you got to think at 17, 16, 17, we not thinking from the mindset me and you might be, where we might use
Mhm.
restraint, or we might get up and leave, or we might do it something different because we can see or we know the outcome or see the outcome coming or where this is going.
Mhm.
In the moment,
Mhm.
he might not have. And I'm not just talking about Carmelo, but even Austin for what he did. He was
Right.
17
Right.
or whatever. He
Right.
might not have thought that it was going to go there. He might have thought, okay,
None of
we gonna
them left
tussle.
our house that day with the anticipation of
There
this
you go.
outcome.
There
None
you
of
go.
them.
There you
None of
go.
them. So, I just think accountability needs to be taken in the home first. It starts at home.
Does.
It starts at home. So, like I said, the way I raise my son, have, make mindful decisions.
Sure.
Be intelligent when you're choosing your friends, who you hang around, different aspects of being a young person.
Sure.
It's just we have to do better. But also, I just want to say this before I get off.
Mhm.
We have to look at things more spiritual than physical.
Of
Right
course.
now in the media, we see it like we as Black people are so triggered by racism. And once one story comes, they just snowball us with it. And that's what they want you to focus on. But if you start looking at things as good and evil instead of black and white, you'll see clearly what is actually happening in the world. I mean, it is racism,
I
but
understand,
at some
but
point
it's
it's
deeper
not.
than that.
You
I
know what I'm
get,
saying?
yeah, I do get what you're saying. Somebody
Yeah,
has a
I mean,
question.
racism is evil.
Somebody has a question for you, right? And he
Uh,
posed it as a white lady, but I'm gonna say any lady. But he wrote, if a
okay.
white lady comes spit in your face right now, so blessed, what would you do?
I would
And
choke
but
the
I'm gonna take
life
the
out of
white
her.
lady out of
In
it.
the name of Jesus. In the name of Jesus, I would choke the life out of her.
See
I
what I'm
mean, who's gonna
saying?
tell her?
But see, now and you being of the mature age and of mind state that
And
you
I
are,
love the Lord and I love
and
God
the
and all of that,
experience
but
and the
I'm not
experience.
delivered to that point.
Right. So this is where I'm glad he asked that because guess how
Yes,
much less delivered that young man Carmelo could have been in that moment when the
exactly.
guy put his hands on him.
Exactly. Right. Right. Right.
And it might be a situation where you didn't ask or it wasn't really no conversation. She might just not like who you look, who you were, not just because of your color of your skin. It could have been your hair, could have been the dude you was with, could have been anything. And she said, you know what? On this day,
Anything.
I'm spitting on me so blessed.
Now I'm gonna. So I'm a chef.
Okay.
Last year I had a situation. It was we were doing a wedding, and
Okay.
it was a family that with my legal name, people look at it on paper. They think, oh, they thought I was probably not of this race. So when
Got
she
you.
saw me, you could tell she was like, oh my God, you're the chef. Yes, I'm the chef. She had been corresponding with me on the phone, on in
Oh,
emails for over
she
a
did it.
year.
Oh
So when she
no.
saw
No.
me, she was like, oh my God, you're touching my chicken. Like she was very, it was
Oh
evident. It
no.
was so evident. She got rude to the point where she flipped a tray of food onto me out of my hand. Like if the food flew on me, on my face, everything. I couldn't react.
You,
I could not
that's business.
react.
You kind of had to remain under professional decorum. I get that.
Kinda, kinda,
Kinda,
kinda,
kinda.
kinda. But I'll tell you what, it was a humbling moment because I knew that the consequences would not only affect my business, but it would affect my private life. Like if I had reacted to her, I would have been arrested. It would have been no question of it. And guess who got arrested? She got arrested.
Because it's assault.
And she got
Yeah.
it's assault and I did not react. I did not react. If I had reacted, then it would have turned into something totally different. But it turned into a
Mm,
lawsuit in my favor. But you know what I'm saying?
yeah.
You just got to think. And if, in 5 seconds in my mind, yes, I was slapping her to next week, but I had to
But you had the
restrain
woosah in the
myself.
moment. And we have
It
those
was
moments.
beyond what I almost went home to Jesus. 'Cause
I understand. But see,
Yeah.
you in the right headspace in the right time with the right experience and right mind state that kept you
Right.
in that to be able to do that. Maybe some years back, if it had happened, maybe it would have been different, or maybe it would have been the same. Who
And that's
knows?
all I'm saying is that we can teach that to the youth. We can
That's
teach
true.
that to the. My
That's
father
true.
taught me that.
That's
If that didn't start at home, I probably I wouldn't be on this internet right now. I tell you that
true.
much. But thank you for letting me have my perspective. I appreciate it.
Sure. And hopefully, listen, I don't know if this is your first time being in one of my lives, but
It
come back.
is.
This is the GMG family, Good Money Gang, we call ourselves. But you're welcome here anytime. And if you want to chime in, and do not be afraid to voice your opinion. It ain't about me being right because I'm the host. It's about having the dialogue.
Hill,
And
you
and
saw
that's
my
what's
all
important.
caps in the caption. You saw my all caps in the comments. You know I'm not afraid.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And see, that's the thing. I like it because even if we don't leave with the same understanding or agreeing all the time or whatever, we can learn from each other perspectives and or get our point
Yeah,
across, which other people are listening to, and they can glean from it what they need or whatever the
right,
case may be, as opposed
right.
to it being one sided. And that's what I'm about.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Appreciate you. And hopefully you'll subscribe to the channel, come back, see your boy, you know.
Okay, yeah, I'm
Oh,
following you on Instagram. I'm gonna DM you. I'll DM you so you can know my page.
okay. And guess what? Tonight we
Okay.
coming back at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I don't know what you got going on a Friday night, but I got a show called
Oh,
Feel the Love where we talk. You can find somebody on it if you want, but it's mainly about conversations about love, marriage, intimacy, relationship, dating, courting, sex, or whatever. But it's very grown. We get to the line of where you kind of gotta cut it off for YouTube purposes, but we talk about
right.
everything from
Okay.
positions to love languages to turn on everything. But if you can come make it, come make it.
Thank you so much. God bless you. Have a great day, everybody.
God bless you as well.
Thank you.
Yes, indeed. Me so blessed, ladies and gentlemen. I don't know why I want to say, oh, me so blessed. Oh, me so blessed. Me so. I've been serious up here, so you know what I'm saying? I've been serious up here. It's time I cut a joke or something, right? I thought they didn't even kick her out of here. I'm trying to kick her out of here, but she's stuck in the back or whatever. Make sure she muted up just in case. But anyway, yeah. Before I get out of here, in good faith and in good spirits, and in the and because things have been so just tight, uptight, and rigid, and stressful and trying and triggering and all that. I want to leave y'all with something that's not that. Let me see if I can find it real quick. Where you at? I thought I uploaded. Hold on, boo boo. Let me get it ready for y'all. Only it'll take a second. Only take a second. I saw this video online. Oh, he probably gonna be mad at me. He probably gonna be mad at me. But this one here, this one here, this one right here is funny as all get out. Let me get it prepared, and I got y'all. You feel me? Hold on, let me make sure I ain't okay. Boom. Do 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 do. Hold on, I'm almost ready, y'all. Here we go. I don't know what it is about our boy Benzino. Zeno, if you watch this, Slim, this is the second video I done seen her do with you. She got you, Slim. She got you, Slim. But it's Friday. I got to leave y'all with something a little bit funny so we could get up out of here on a good note, on a good foot. But y'all check this out. Hilarious. You welcome me, me so blessed. Y'all watch. Nobody.
Does it?
Damn it, Jim.
Does it better?
Damn.
Does it better?
Lot of mercy. Hey, Zeno, you got to have a sense of humor, my brother. If you don't, oh well. Listen, shout out to him and his health and wellness, though. But that young lady, whoever she is funnier than a mug, because she be damn sure getting him. She damn sure be getting him. You hear me? Shout out to Benzino. But that Bama there. Listen, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, GMGers, GMGettes, we've been on here 3 hours a day. Ain't that about a B-I-E-I? Uh-oh. Listen, y'all know what I like to say, ladies and gentlemen, as I prepare to roll on, smile, because you never know what it might do to or for somebody, including yourself. More importantly, love on somebody on purpose, with purpose. And last but not least, I'm not anti you, but I'm pro me with the emphasis on building we. Let that marinate your melon till the next time we can chop it up and have a tay-to-tay. Until that day, baby, I holla.
We're one big happy family. We're GMG. One big happy family. Hey, hey, thank you for tuning in. Make sure you come back again. Tell a friend to tell a friend. It's GMG and Big Phil speech.
Listen, it's Friday. Get your asses up off here. Live a little life. Love a little better. Huh? Do something with yourself. Huh? I see y'all tonight. If you know like I know, you better be there. Because we going to have at it, baby. That part. I'm up out of here. Big Phil Speaks, GMG, the Good Morning Gang Morning Show. Y'all know what it is. I holla. Peace.